here we are, February 25th.
Aye.
So this is actually us within the month recording episode 3.
I'm actually really surprised that you're here, to be honest.
I came myself.
Yeah, yourself.
So I'm here, you're here. I'm Stephen McLernan.
I'm Derek Goldie.
This is TurboDunters.
The podcast.
The podcast at Eckies and no Tories.
No, I definitely.
So Twitter is at TurboDunters in case you want to follow us for no chat, because we don't really post on Twitter. But yeah, so there's the introduction out the way.
That's it done.
Right, see you next month.
Catch you.
We don't actually have time to record it. So I want to go over last month's episode. It was a bit of a shambles with the recording side of things. Mm-hmm. So the bad recording led to really bad editing.
Yeah.
So I looked like a prick. I said Kerry Elwes was in The Purge. It's no Kerry Elwes, it's Ethan Hawke.
Fuck's sake.
I think I did correct myself, but you edited it out. And
probably,
Pete was probably sitting there going, fuck's sake, it's Ethan Hawke, no Kerry Elwes.
Didn't even get it right.
Doesn't even know who's in The Purge.
Can't even get The Purge right.
The best film of all time.
Of course.
And the other main issue I had with it is there was a lot of self-reflection on my part last episode when I realised that I was the fucking worst, right? But the way you edited it made it sound as if I was going, I'm fucking brilliant. Jameson was the shite one out the two of us. Which
was that not the case?
We were both really shite. It was not as if he was shite and I wasn't.
Well,
we were both
it's not him that's on the podcast though,
it's not him that's on to rebut everything that I've said about him last month. Though I will say, before we bring him in, I apologise for calling you a baldy bastard. that was bad. Yeah, you're bald, but calling you a baldy bastard was...
That's just no one.
No, and you don't look perpetually 40 either.
Yeah.
Not yet. You just looked older than I did when we were 17, so that's why you got sent in for the booze.
I think the curtain needs to fall here. We have a stupendous, new thing for the podcast.
What?
A guest.
Jameson, any thoughts?
Aye. Lots of thoughts, especially after last month's episode. But no, I thought I had a fun time listening to you giving me shit for the last 2 episodes.
There was the bit, right, where we were talking about MySpace, and I realised that I had a MySpace, a Misfits song playing, a Misfits background, while wearing a Misfits or a Balzac t-shirt in my fucking profile picture. And I just sort of sat and thought about that and went, how did I ever get my hole? How did I have anyone other than Tom as a friend in MySpace?
Because when you're a teenager, all you need is skulls on your shirt and
a teenager from Mars,
and a music on autoplay.
Music on autoplay, aye. It's probably fucking Saturday night or something like that. Just to no getting your whole Misfits song, even though it's about getting your home.
Probably the most obnoxious Balzac song you can find, actually, if we're being honest.
Probably. So I'm blaming Derek for that, because I was pointing out how pish I was as well, because I've never been one to try and big myself up, because people just go, no mate, that's not happening. So here we are, episode 3. We've not really got a plan.
Nope.
Other than Jameson gives his side of the story.
Yeah.
In an episode that I want to call Dunt You Forget About Me.
So how much of a bastard is McLaren?
Oh, the biggest. Aye.
Could I just point out, right, that I do apologise for calling you a baldy bastard. That was unacceptable.
I'm a baldy bastard.
But I was talking to Kelly about this, and I stand by the braid thing. That was
wasn't the only shite haircut I've had. I didn't probably, if I still had hair, wouldn't have been the only shite haircut I'm gonna have in future. But
I was kind of I kind of wanted dreadlocks when I was like 12 or 13. But how old were you when you had them?
15.
15.
Aye,
15,
was it that
much? No talking like mid-20s.
I know.
He did
That's the logical kind of follow point though. Like 12, 13, that looks heavy cool. 15. Fuck you, ma, I'm doing it.
Aye.
Like, that's
it. At 12, my mother scalped the braids off my head.
Exactly, yeah.
At 15, I could get away with doing it, and she wasn't willing to come near me.
And then
scalpable braids.
And then by the time he was 16, 17, I was the target of her hate, so he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, pretty much. So I'll stand by this point as well, right? The braids were bad. See, when I talked about how he went off to get his hole for ages and I didn't see him for months. Is that true?
Did you get
I got a girlfriend. That's what happened.
So
basically
talking about bad haircuts, the night I saw him in Central again, he had a sort of shark fin thing going on, because I remember what happened was you had a sort of, I don't know, it was like a faux kind of thing going on, because Cud ran up to you, Cud the Pyro,
Cud the
as we
Pyro.
spoke about in the last episode, and you were standing with a bottle of Pepsi Max, and Cud, because he hadn't seen you for so long and didn't know, had never seen you with short hair before, decided to headbutt you. Do you remember this? As you took a drink, so you were wearing like a white t-shirt and the Pepsi Max just went all the way down it.
Oh shit, man.
This guy was shite.
I believe
Cud's no James.
I believe he was trying to give me a hug
Right.
and just made a total ass of it and ended up throwing coke on me, and I never took too well to getting a bottle of coke thrown down me and booted him square in the butt.
That seems like the rightful penance for that.
Hey, I'm pretty sure he lifted off the ground. It was not pretty.
As we spoke
Yeah.
about before, this guy set his own balls on fire, so that was probably not the best bit to hit him.
Did we talk about this last time?
No, it was the first episode we
Oh,
spoke
right,
about
right.
It was definitely mentioned at some
Cut the
point.
pyro.
There was
That's
a
why,
boy.
because he's sitting, you went, why did no set his dick on fire?
Oh, aye, right, aye. I took issue with the specificity of the balls.
It was a fucking dick.
So have you had any shite haircuts then?
All the time.
Or the,
You're only working with, like,
All the many times that you just let it grow long.
you're only there a few, I think it was the summer, the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. I let my hair grow shoulder length
fuck.
and just grew out my beard and looked like a fat Kevin Smith probably is the best way to describe it. Then one weekend I did what I did a few weeks ago, just shaved it all off, and I went to work and people didn't recognise me. So yeah, I just let it grow until I can be arsed. Though when I had a mohawk a few months ago, I let it grow, and then I realised when it got too mullety, that's when I cut it.
That's when the you'd reached the limit of the mullet.
Yeah, because last season, Mark Kelly in Georgia thought I intentionally had a mullet, and I was like, right, this needs sorted immediately. But I just, in solidarity with my bald brethren here, I decided to shave my head the other week because I felt bad for calling them a baldy bastards. Now we can be baldy bastards together.
It's mad that you can feel. You know, you have the capacity to feel guilt. I didn't know that before.
He's my best pal, and he knows too much about me, so
That's true,
he can set it out.
Speaking of which, what do you know about him? It's any bad stories?
Many stories.
Well, this is your
There's not too
chance.
many particularly bad ones. I mean, he's done a lot of stupid stuff in his life that I've witnessed.
The autopsy of Stephen McLaren.
The thing is, though, I've not really got any shame, so like I normally tell people these things. If something's funny, you might as well share it. Don't be embarrassed about what you've done, because who fucking cares, you know? Unfortunately, I'm the only person that thinks that. So, I bet if we dug up some dirt about you, you'd be pure rage.
Probably, yeah.
Like, he had up in his wad the other week that he needed to do his ironing, and he didn't fucking do his ironing. What a dick.
Got a wee whiteboard that I write things to myself, and I wrote do some ironing. I didn't do it.
What?
And then next day you were like, oh yeah, prick, you've done it.
Exactly. Beat the shit out of myself.
Write a really passive aggressive message on that
Shout at yourself
whiteboard.
in the morning.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, like, we've been through some funny times together. Most of the funny stories I've got about myself, Jameson was there, or at least called me a dick about it at some point. So
That's what you need sometimes, just somebody there to acknowledge and call you a dick.
To remind you.
Exactly. Keep you grounded.
So what do you want to bring up? Let's go.
I don't know, like the first stupid story that I remember for our young days was the day that we were at Kelvingrove Park, and I think it was a forum football, possibly, and I ended up babysitting your wee brother, who would have been about 11 or 12 at the time.
Is this Jet?
No, that's
Kyle.
Oh, Kyle.
That's Kyle.
Yeah, that's not even that bad though. That was stupid.
No, but it was just funny as fuck because we're sitting on Jakey Hill, tanning cider as you do.
As you do, huh?
And McLaren goes, "Oh, away for a pish," and starts swaggering off towards the bushes. And then he disappeared, like literally in front of my eyes, fucking disappeared. And then showed up about 20 minutes later with his face on skin, because it turns out he'd fell down a fucking a verge and landed face first in the concrete. And then later on that day he disappeared somewhere, absolutely pissed for like 3 hours, and I get left babysitting his wee brother for him.
Sounds like a lovely wee day. Just
To be fair, I was in like a fit state to like after my wee brother at all. What had happened was, right, this is the start of our bad decisions making that as a collective between the two of us, right? Because we were 16, 17 at that point, we didn't have much money, right, if any at all. So we'd go and get bottles of probably Pulse cider or Frosty Jacks or one of those.
The good shit.
Cheap side.
Aye, one of those beautiful things that you'd. And I hadn't eaten that day, so I decided to tan this bottle of fucking cider. Got absolutely steaming, like can't remember a fucking thing, and fell down a hill.
It's mad.
Unfortunately, Jameson wasn't here for this bit. There was two other guys from my school that were there that day, and apparently I kept running away. And they were chasing after me to try and catch up with me because I don't know what I was doing.
You're just sitting like, no.
So I just kept, but I was steaming, so I don't know how they couldn't catch me. But because it was a West End, you can get away with this. Apparently, I waited over someone's windshield, right?
Oh, right.
Just as they were coming back to their car.
Oh man, I feel like the worst.
Well, I don't know how to remember
and
this.
see how it ends.
Aye. So, like, if this happened in Govan Hill, you'd get stabbed. Right?
Easy.
Apparently, they were all right with it in the West End.
They understood. They're residents near the park, so
Aye,
they understand.
Happens every
what goes on
weekend.
there. Aye.
So he thought I was dead because he didn't see me for a week.
And they just disappeared.
It just disappeared. Ended up in one bedroom. So I think Johnny's, my pal Johnny's mum and dad gave me a lift home, just like, right, we need to get him home. I woke up in my bed, had no idea where the fuck I was, panicking because the last thing I remember was skating down a hill in my face. Probably had a concussion or something like that as well as being drunk. And I had plasters all over the side of my face because Johnny thought, fuck, he's bleeding, we need to kind of stop his face from bleeding, so stop. All over my face and my hair.
They're like they're falling off because they're all bloody. And he's like, no, just Mel. Needs Mel.
Was he also pissed?
He wasn't as pissed as me, so I don't know. I don't think anybody's been as pissed as me as I was. That was probably the worst I've ever been. So I woke up during the night, figured out where I was, like, fuck, I really need to piss, right? So I woke up to piss, and my mum got up and she's like, are you alright? And she's like, what were you talking about? And she was pure raging because I couldn't stand up. And apparently my mum and dad at the time had tried to get me into my bed, but I kept falling on my bedroom floor. But there was the way that house was set up in Kidden Park was fucking weird because I had a big double wardrobe with glass mirrors on them because I was a lassie or something, I don't know. But inside this double wardrobe was the electricity meter. I don't know why. In my room. Don't know why it was there. But apparently at one point my mum and dad were trying to get me in. The doors in this were open for whatever reason, and I fell backwards into the electricity meter. And my mum and dad just went, fuck it. That's as far as we're going to get him. He's here. So he just left me. So at one point I made it into my bed. I don't know how, right? But yeah, but apparently this fucking legend here went into the car. I don't know if you remember this. I finally turned up the next week. He was like, you thought you were dead. Hadn't heard for you all week. You went flying down a hill and disappeared. thought you were gone. So he's like, so you're alright? I was like, aye, cool. Probably done the same that day as well, just not to that extent. But this fucking big whore went into the town outside the cow steaming and just
I do remember this.
And what was your
I don't recall. I remember the story, but I don't remember it actually happening.
He said outside the cow, so that should point out we were under 18. It's no, he wasn't being a fucking dirty bastard. Well, it was, but no to that extent. Apparently just to the side of the queue went, right, who wants a lunch?
Who wants a what?
No, a lunch.
A lunch?
A lunch, and it worked.
What?
Fair enough.
Again, that's
How quickly did you get a response, or was it like you shouted and then there's like people looking at you like,
like
or was it instant?
For what I remember, like I remember telling the story. I don't know, it was that long ago now. It was almost
fucking
15. I think it's probably been longer since it happened.
What did she look like, James?
But I think it was literally like I showed up, I was there for about 5 minutes and went away with a winch. I wasn't there for a long time.
To go with the cat as well.
Save yourself the $5 to get in, just stand outside afterwards.
I'll tell you what though, you can't argue with results.
Nice.
So yeah, so that I don't have many memories of that apart from waking up with a bloody face and my mum being fucking raging because she thought I was going to die because it was
you nearly broke the electricity meter.
nearly cut off the electricity supply.
That'd be a better story. Like when you know doing that. Fuck's sake.
You're right, Derek. Let's go to Jakey Hill today with 4 litres of cider. Try and recreate
Do you ever,
it.
like, I remember finding out that like, see, Frosty Jacks and all that, it wasn't like made of apples, and I couldn't understand like how can you not have cider for apples, but
What's
what
it
the
made
fuck's
for?
an onion cider? Like, how do you even? Where does the cider come from? I was just really confused, but I still drank it.
And now look at this. We've got pear cider,
Aye.
strawberry cider.
I still don't understand it, man.
I had cola cube cider at Christmas.
Is that just fermented cola cubes?
Just get a bag.
It's one of the big Geely jars.
Just have a bag of cola cubes out in the fucking sun for 3 days.
Aye.
Yeah, there we go.
Aye.
So that was really nice because it just tasted like cola cubes. The problem with that, though,
The cola cubes no just taste like sugar.
kinda. Team leader and work that got me it. And
Alright,
you'll
yeah.
get it.
Oh yeah,
Aye.
that was tasty, man.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a
But the
good
thing
shout.
with that is though, you could just tan like
Aye, that was
15 of them.
tasty. It was pretty much just juice.
Aye, it didn't taste
It
like
was like Vimto almost.
booze at all. So you just tan them, and then you go to stand up, and that's your fucking wastage. Because I remember, I think it was my birthday. Remember my 21st birthday in the cat house, and I was fucked, like severely fucked. 'Cause
That's
people-
every time we went to the
I know,
cat pretty
but
much.
this was, I wanted
So
to
the
go
way you
home
get
at
through
like
the couch.
11 because I was so steaming, and him and all my pals were like, you can't go yet, you've got all these drinks to finish, and like I would do another drink and then like 3 more would turn up. I was like, I just want to go home or something. It's like, you need to finish these drinks. Oh no. And so we went to Burger King after across the road, and he came back to crash at mine. I don't remember getting home or anything because I was fucked, but I did wake up the next morning. I was still holding the burger in the wrapper. So I must have went home, got in my bed, picked it up, yeah, fucking burger, passed out. Now he's like,
Did
go
you
and-
instantly resume the eating like as soon as you woke up? Like,
this guy had a fantastic guy. He said, go and microwave it, it'll be alright. So I went and microwaved it. He came out the microwave with just rock solid minging. I was like, no.
this is the good one.
So it was just mostly drunk stories like that. There is a few others that if he wants to tell, we'll let him tell.
Yeah.
But
If he wants.
if he wants. But it's the same, like he's had bad stories like that as well. He's got me into a lot of trouble when they had the fucking perfect idea when we were at our pals, Stuart and Fiona's. I can't remember they were living at the time, but would say they'd walk back to your house in Spittle. He's like, I've got rum. I was like, right, cool. He was like, but with no mixer. I was like, right. So we got a bottle of Coke or something from somewhere. He was like, right, well. We were sort of standing in the street with a bottle of rum and a bottle of Coke. I was like, now what? So he's like, I've got a good idea. I'll tan
What's
the no,
Chase it.
I'll tan the rum and then I'll tan the Coke. This was fucking an abysmal
Did it
idea.
work? No.
Oh no, what? it just didn't work particularly pleasantly. It wasn't a smooth transition from sober to drunk, let's put it that way.
Yeah, fair dues.
That was terrible. And but eventually we realised that, see, instead of buying shite cider, we put our money together, we can get some beer. And things kind of picked up a wee bit better because we were already tanning utter pish.
But that's where it all started going downhill and we all got fat. Tanning crates of tenants every weekend.
Crates of tenants, breakfast packs.
I've never really been one for beer, to be honest. I've always been more of a cider drinker. I remember going to like flat parties when I was like 15, 16, and I'd be like, I'm gonna get 18 cans of Foster's, and I'd make it through like a third of one and go, that's just shite.
Aye.
Who wants some Foster's?
That's where you went wrong, you were buying Foster's.
That's probably a bad launching point.
And saying that, we were drinking fucking Tenants, which
Aye.
wasn't much better. Though your dad,
Was it back in the yellow can days?
aye, they don't in yellow cans anymore.
Silver now, I think.
I did have not had Tenants for forever because it's fucking terrible. But his dad used to drink Skull, which was like what 1% alcohol or
I
something.
don't know. It was like Lidl beer.
What was it?
Don't know.
Good old Lidl beer.
Good old little beer. But now we drink fucking, what do you call it, Joker, because we're pretentious wanks. And the IPAs.
Maybe drink it for the flavour.
You need to, after years of killing your taste buds with Miller and fucking Tenants that just taste like shite.
Stella.
Stella, oh that was good. Remember the he used to smoke. We're sitting in his room and there's cans all over the place because we were jakey teenagers.
Aye.
he was I was steaming, he was using one as an ashtray and I just went, right, I'm just going to have a drink. Picked it up and it was like this flat stale beer with
It
fags
wasn't
in it.
even a wee sip either, it was like proper chugged it.
Oh, fuck! I was in university and like I it's in this like we kind of shared flat with a dude, and I was cleaning up one night. Like, we'd been out like I think it was like all day, like every day of the weekend, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday we'd been out, and it was like the Monday morning I was trying to clean up the flat a wee bit. There's all these like cans just sitting in the kitchen. They'd been there a wee while, and I was like, I just had the end of one. It was like a wee Strongbow, and I was like, that's quite nice. And I went to like just throw the other ones out because I was like, there's no way, they've been here for ages, nobody's got to drink them. And like I opened one up, and when I poured it down, and this like film was in the top of it. Oh man, it was bad. It was bad, and I was like, I drank your brother. Like,
you've got mushrooms growing in your cider.
Probably.
Oh.
Mushrooms in my stomach, man.
So J.K. Hill was a big part of our growing up. It's the Hill and Kelvin Grove Park, for anyone who's not sure what that is.
Is it actually called J.K. Hill, or is that what
It's just
called?
what
I'm pretty sure if you looked up on a map it would be J.K. Hill, if that's what you're asking.
Everybody knows though.
Aye.
Because that was the place where before...
The Jakey's room?
No, there was never Jakey's. It's the West End, I'm not allowed there. We were the Jakey's because we're for fucking the south side.
Sorry.
But we would go, and it was good because like we knew a bunch of people who always got us mixed up for some reason. It was a bunch of, we just called them the West Enders, right? Well, we weren't talking about this, is off there, but the Cat House Forum, there was these West Enders who loved him and fucking CKY and all that shite stuff, but for some reason they could never. There was one, was it Anna that couldn't tell us apart? There was one that used to call him Jameson, me McLernan, and then one time she came up to me.
That's correct though.
Aye.
Yeah, no, it's not. They used to call him McLaren, me Jameson. And one time she came up to me and went, "Oh right, Mick," and I was like, "Yes," and she went, "Mick Jameson." I was like, "Oh, no,
That's not your name.
You were so
got there. So like you got to know all these people. That's where we met most of the people we ended up hanging about with for.
I was like, when we were teenagers, you either met every day on the forum or at Kelvin Grove Park, or I suppose like the Goma, because that was when folks still hung about at the gallery and all that.
You started it there. I didn't really hang about there because I don't know, I was a wee fanny with no pals. I was seeing so many people at one place. Like, fuck, no, not for me. I did too much pressure to talk to people. You knew all the crazy bastards as well. One who's still got to do me to this day. I'm still
waiting for that beating.
That beating for Stuart Roney, who I can't remember what I'd done, but apparently he reminded me of Beavis for Beavis and Butthead, right? Because he always had a like profile on for somebody. He saw him from the side of his
permanently too deep.
And when he was walking, he would walk. I don't know if he had a neck issue or something like that, but it was so weird. And then one day he was like, "I'm going to kick fuck at you." I was like,
Alright. And he never rescinded that, he never took it back?
He never took it back, he never battered me, but the thing is, like, I'm not really scared of anyone. Like, no, because I'm a hard bastard. It's more like, if I'm going to get a doing, fuck it, there's no point in avoiding it because it's going to happen anyway. I'm not going to fight back because I can't fight, so I might as well just accept it. And he knew some fucking mental bastards hanging about with him. So if he went, Nicky Barnett is going to kick fuck at you, I'd go, right, I'm just going.
Probably, aye.
No, it's like, I'm just not going to leave the house ever again. he's a mental bastard, but this guy's just a fan. He was like, right, cool. So
I've got a guy out there that's like apparently wants to kick my cunt in with a golf club, but this was about going on about 10 years ago now.
Aye.
I think I've made
Do you know what's happened there? He's misplaced his golf club.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
how do you kick fuck at someone? Is he going to kick the golf club?
I don't know, man. He just said, "I'm going to kick fuck at you," and he held up a golf club, and I was like, "Goodbye," and left. It's like the only person I've ever been in a fight with, and the only reason we started fighting, I think it must have been like primary 4, and like my school used to do this thing. At the end of the day, they would have boxes of fruit, and because to make the kids eat fruit, you'd leave the class and you'd pick up an apple or something like that. And I took a pear, and he wanted a pear, and he went, "Gonna swap my apple for your pear?" And I went, "No mate, you should have been faster to get the pear." And he went, "Fucking, I'll knock the fuck out of you when we get outside." And I'd never been in a fight, and I was like, "How will you fuck? It's just a pear." And I got outside and he started fighting with me. I wouldn't say I got my cunt kicked in, but I was definitely on the floor. And that's all I really handled with this dude. And then like 2 years later, the golf club came out, and I was like, "You really wanted that fucking pear?" Like, holy shit, man.
I was going to say, what I can't see, like, so you got free fruit.
Aye.
Right.
That escalated into a golf game, because I thought you were talking about in primary 4 he was going to kick fuck at you.
No, this was primary 7.
That's
a few
quite
years.
the grudge.
Aye,
over
I
a
know.
bear, man.
I know.
See,
Part of me thinks it wasn't about the pair. Maybe it was just he didn't like me, but the pair was an excuse.
the pair was the edge that he was hanging on to. He was like, I'm going to kick fuck him, but if I get a pair, I'll be alright. It's fuck's sake.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he found a shop that sold pairs.
Maybe it was all about the pair, and that was just the only chance he had to get a pair.
Aye.
Maybe
His family's against him or something. And he's like, I can only escape at school with the pairs.
They've turned the fruit against
And we're giving him a bit
And you
too much
fucking
credit.
ruined it
I
for
fucking
him.
ruined it for him. I deserved it. If somebody got a golf club.
So we got into quite a few scrapes, no fights, because
You were good boys.
no good boys, because neither of us can fight. So there was no point. We just get our cunts kicked in, as we said. But we always ended up places that we shouldn't have been, and there's a few places on our list that we're never going to go back to because of it. Whifflet.
Whifflet.
If you don't know where Whifflet is, right, I don't blame you. Is it outside Coatbridge? I think that was the nearest place to it.
Aye, it's near Coatbridge.
So we went to a party there. I don't even know why.
Because you were pumping a lassie.
Because I was
Go to a party.
Same reason we ended up in Barhead.
Aye, true, but I can't even remember. Barhead, aye. We'll get to that. But Whifflet, we ended up there. Who did the rape? We'll get into why he was called the rapist in a minute.
Right, his name's no the rapist. That's not what it says
Anymore.
on his birth certificate, but he might be on a register.
And if not, he should be. Why was he there though? Who did he know? Was it just he came along with us?
He came with us, aye.
Right.
I think we were in Central before we went to Whifflet, and he happened to come through or something, and you knew him for school or something.
Aye. No, he lived Ridin near me. So we ended up with this party. We were both quite drunk. It was Whifflet, which is fucking terrible. All I remember for that is that the night that the lassie I was pumping, as you so eloquently put it, was on a swing.
Is that how you pumped her?
No. We were walking through Whifflet. We found a park.
Oh, this was let's figure out how we get to the point where we're walking through Whifflet. Right, so we'll start at the start of this night.
That'd be good, aye.
We're at a party. How do we end up walking through Whifflet at 6 in the morning?
Who is the rapist?
Because we got
Aye.
kicked out. Why did we get kicked out of that one?
Probably the rapist.
I'm trying to think why we got kicked out of this one, but anyway, he's called the rapist because for some reason he turned up to this party with a packet of condoms. As you do, we turned up with beer, he turned up with condoms, right?
And whenever a lassie at the party.
And not even
me what I want.
pretty much. He wasn't even like talking to them. He just he'd go up and go alright, and then just pull a condom out his pocket.
Waggle it. Hey.
Genuinely just gone round going, I've got condoms. It didn't work for me.
No, I can't imagine it would have been. I wish maybe, that's something you could ask
You
for
need to
as
start
well,
low and work your way up.
Aye.
Because if you went to the side of the cat and anyone want a shot?
but- Wagging it.
Aye, if I just went outside the cat house waving condoms, I'm sure I'd
should have been seen if you
slap
watched it.
rather than a winch.
Aye.
But-
So we got kicked out probably because of him. I can't mind why. We'll just say it was him because it's as good a.
That's a good way to go down. I get kicked out because
it was the lassie whose house it was his sister threw his out, but I can't remember what she was raging about. Somebody drank her tequila or something.
Aye.
That's always the case, isn't it, man? You let people in your house and they drink your food.
See, I can't drink tequila. It's the one drink I've ever had where it made me instantly sick because of the taste. I can't fucking do tequila at all. So I was innocent in this. Don't know about him. Do you like tequila?
I was innocent.
No, that would just mean do you like tequila in general?
Not silver tequila, which is what she had.
Right. So we all got kicked out and we were walking through a park trying to find a way home because we were in the arsehole of nowhere pretty much, and we found a park, and I'm sure this is what happened is it might have been this is what happened. I went on the swing, right, and she walked in front of me. I kicked her right in the heat.
Oh, fuck.
This wasn't my fault.
The park was not well lit.
I do not fucking walk in front of someone in a swing. Is the moral of the story, which shouldn't need to be brought up. It's common sense, really, But anyway, so Whifflet, we're not going back there. Barhead, the other one, I can remember this one vividly.
Aye.
It's fucking hilarious.
This is the best party story ever that results in us deciding never to visit that town again.
Understandably.
So me, you, Lev was with us, wasn't he?
Lev was there, aye.
Aye. So we went to this party. I don't know, because I was banging the lassie. We didn't know anyone apart from each other and the lassie I was banging, I think.
Dickie.
Nicky?
Dickie.
Oh, Dickie, that's right. Sorry.
Because that's an important part of the story.
Dickie is a major part of this story. So,
Dickie?
I don't really
It's
know.
a wee guy that was like, he was a friend of a friend, like, wasn't part of your kind of social circle, but it was just a boy we knew, and he happened to be at this party. Got there, not today with us, we got there and he was there, and we were like, alright, Dickie.
Right, so
Unlucky for the name.
Gloria's just like, so we went into our room just for something to do, and Jameson got really, really fucking offended at one of the things that he found.
What'd you think?
I wasn't offended, I was just like, why does this fucking exist? Like, a video game called Vigilante 8 2.
And what was your reaction to this?
Well, eventually the reaction was it get fucked out the window.
And this was a Dreamcast game, and the only reason I remember this is because Dickie found his Dreamcast and just put it in his jumper. He was taking a Dreamcast.
You just stole a Dreamcast.
It's just like, take this with me.
Maybe he was going to pick up Vigilante 8 2 in a way we're not sure.
This isn't why we get thrown
No,
at the
this
party.
isn't why we got thrown.
Fuck.
So Dickie,
Also, right,
Dickie
what happened in the poor boy's bedroom?
Dickie went rummaging through the...
No, before that.
Oh, someone sat in the radiator,
Right.
which came straight off the wall.
Oh no.
Tory's radiator off the wall. That wasn't the reason
That's
we got
the one.
thrown.
I mean, it's quite a rap sheet already.
To be fair, I think we can say that at top of the reasons why we got thrown at Vigilante 8 2 going out the window probably wasn't top.
Wasn't even the only thing that went out the window either. But I'm sure at one point we were sitting in the bedroom with the windows, these two like double windows wide open, sitting on his computer chair and just frisbeeing this to the window.
I think part of this is someone we didn't even know.
No.
Someone we didn't even know.
Aye.
So then Dickie went, I've got this Dreamcast, I'm going to see what else I can find. So he started going through
Steal.
he started going through the guy's wardrobe, I think it was, and found his porn collection. So I think this got ripped up and thrown on the floor itself.
The porn ended up torn up, thrown everywhere all
I mean,
over.
that's just a moral move, isn't it?
He was a Puritan, Dickie. You know, he was all about the stealing but no the pornography. And this didn't get us kicked out either, right?
Fucking hell.
It wasn't the porn, it wasn't the radiator, it wasn't his stuff
the
getting chucked out the window.
It was the Dreamcast getting knocked.
Wait, that.
He found his best pal shagging his bird in his mum and dad's bed. Everyone got thrown out for this.
Oh, that's a badging.
Oh, it's a badging, aye. That was the most offensive thing that happened. He was genuinely feeling that his pals were pumping in his mum and dad's bed.
Not that strangers were fucking kicking the fuck out his room. That was
No, that's fine. That's normal part of,
Etiquette.
going in Glasgow. But
It was ridiculous. So we ended up.
I think that was about 6 a.m. as well, wasn't it? We got
No, it was before.
Was
it
it
was before
before?
6. I think it was about 4 or 5 o'clock. We get chucked out. We ended up fucking about. We went to a park again in Barhead, and his two pals who also got thrown at the party
Aye.
took a group photo with us all. I wish we could get that photo.
And what were they called? You know, remember this?
No.
Daft Arse and Sweet Cheeks.
Oh no, that was the two other boys. I'm talking about the ones that
I thought they came with us as well, because I remember you shouting at one of them because you're like, why don't we just walk along the train tracks towards Central Station? You got really fucking annoyed at that situation. What was it you shouted? Something like, we'll get fucking run over, Daft Arse.
Aye, I called them Daft Arse. The nickname then stuck for the next 2 hours as we walked from Barhead.
The wrong way at first.
I thought you had to walk back through Barney.
We were trying to get from Barhead to
idea where we
Paisley
were.
because we didn't know where we were. So we started walking. I was like, we'll go this way. We found a petrol station, I think it was, and the woman went, you're going the wrong way. So we turned around and go all the way back. Eventually we made it to Paisley, and somehow we managed, me, Lev and him, to get back to Glasgow in a 9 for about a £2 combined fare. I don't know how.
It was about £1.80 and smashed just like, straight into the bus.
Street to Glasgow, please.
Luckily, it was before the drivers actually counted the
Aye,
money,
no,
so she just fucked it in the machine and went, "There's a £6 in there, driver."
Because where I lived in Kidden Park at the time, the 9 dropped me off pretty much at the top of my street. So I was like, I don't care about Lev. He lived in the West End or Knightswood or somewhere. Like, he can do what he wants. Me and him are getting him at least.
I went back to yours.
That was fucking terrible. And we've not been to Barhead since, so we have stuck to our.
Fuck Barhead, man.
Is it worse than Whifflet though? Probably.
No.
No?
I think Whifflet maybe worse.
I drove through Barhead quite a lot, man. It's rough, to say the least.
It's fine at 4 a.m.
When there's nobody else about it.
I would have got a doing. It's like,
All the doings happen at 3 a.m. in Barhead.
that's good. So things like that, I miss those days because it was funny as fuck. But thank fuck we're past. See if that happened. No, I just go. I'm getting a taxi home. I don't care.
Man, I kind of know what you mean, even though I'm substantially younger than the pair of yous. But like, we used to go to like house parties. This one particular guy in Govan Hill, like every weekend it seemed like and it was. He had the shittest house, man. And he had like exactly in like a family that just really didn't give a shit about having parties, so they would mingle in with like everyone else, and it just was a weird vibe. I think someone broke their like bathroom sink because they were shagging on it. The oldest brother came home one time and was raging because there was a party going on, so he cut a bit of his ear off. It was a weird time. It was a weird time. Like, you'd think it'd have more, substance to that story, but pretty much it just came down. He came home from work. We were all in his living room, and he was like, "Oh, fuck's sake!" He went upstairs. He came back downstairs, and he went, "Look what I've done!" And there was a chunk of ear out his ear. We were like, "All right,
cool.
We're still here, though."
Were you partying in a crack den?
I might have been.
Because it sounds like it might have been.
See, this isn't a young story for us, but Jameson got invited back to a crack den.
Did you?
Did I?
It said you got invited to a guy's house, and so I went, he lives in pretty much a crack den.
Oh, right. This was I know it wasn't actually. Well, it might actually be a crack den. I don't know. This was
Wait, before you go, where is this said crack den? Because you'll be surprised.
Like, he's a latitude and longitude.
It's not even just what part of the city is it? Because it's no Govan Hill. It's no like Denniston or somewhere like you'd expect. Where was
the West End, I think.
In the West End.
Crack den.
But I think it was like St George's Cross kind of area. No, like nice West End. But it was we were out for some folk for Melissa's work, and one of the guys, like, at the end of the night, we were getting home. Everybody else was like, "Oh, let's keep going." So we went back to one of the guys' houses, and then it was like the next morning, Melissa's got a text off one of the lassies for work going, "I think we're in a crack." The person whose house they were in actually genuinely did smoke crack when he was a teenager. So
I mean, it's within the realms of possibility that
He just like crack. But he's the kind of guy who can get into crack with any sort of
negative
repercussions because his family's rich. So they can just go, right, here's a couple of £1,000, just go and get off the crack now, and they'll go, okay.
Just go.
You would get more crack, wouldn't you?
You would.
It's a double-edged sword. We'll go one or two ways.
Crack.
Crack's pretty cheap as well, so a grand worth of crack would fuck you up.
What is the metrics for crack? Do you know? Like, how much does a tenner of crack get you?
I don't know.
Oh, so you were talking shit then?
No, when you see crack,
I thought you were an expert for a second.
You know a dealer?
No, crack is.
Was it no you're then?
Maybe. No, I can't afford fucking West End. That's why I just need to live in the kind of near Govan Hill, but
no Govan
far
Hill.
away enough that it's no Govan Hill, and my street's alright apart from that one neighbour who loves George Michael.
I mean, and that's not a problem.
And
Really?
No, not really.
That's
but
a good thing.
The lassie across the landing tried to set my house on fire every now and then is a problem.
I mean, that's
someone you know.
Aye.
When's the last time she tried to burn you down?
Herself and then you, of course. Because that's the only logical conclusion you can make, isn't it?
It is. It was last summer she done it, but it was bad. Did I never tell you this story?
Aye, you did.
So I saw her in Sainsbury's the other day.
Oh. Big fire layers.
Big spider barbecue.
Pack of them big matches.
Big strong cooking ones.
So I saw her and she kind of looked at me. I looked at her. I've never really seen her that often. So I was like, is that her? I was trying to figure it in my head, and then
you looked in that basket and shit.
I think it's her. And then we got to the self-service things at the same time, and I was looking across at it, fuck, it's her, and she was looking at me like going, fuck, it's him.
It's him.
So what I really wanted to do, What I really wanted to do was just walk really slowly up the street, because there's like two sides of the street, just walk up side by side to make it as awkward as possible. She's a fucking cow trying to set my house on fire. I'm sure she's a nice lassie.
But part for the fire business, part for the arson.
Apart from the arson and her shit tattoo, but we'll get into that in a minute. Do you not know about the tattoo?
Do you know about the tattoo?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll tell you that. You'll agree when we get this.
It's also highly identifiable. Like, there's ever like any small chance that she listens to this, you're definitely going to be in fire at some point.
Why would she listen to this?
That's true.
I mean, everyone should listen to this.
Everyone should.
Well, she knows you both.
Well,
Fuck.
so-
Well, kinda.
She actually knows him through breeding.
Through breeding.
She was
true, actually.
She was banging his pal.
Well,
They might have been banging. We might have just held hands and kissed and set fires. We don't know.
Aye,
But because she came up as a fucking people you may know on Facebook one day, because I was like, just
and I get fucking berated with like, how do you know this girl?
I was like, I know her. If it's always this fucking neighbour, it's neighbour. She knows Rachel as well. She knows too many people that I know, so this might get back
She
to her.
genuinely is going to listen to this.
Aye. So you're walking along the road.
Just because obviously we live in the same close, I wanted to make it as awkward as possible. So I just stand in front of the door waiting for her. And we live in the same landing as well, so there's like no way could have like, but I shat it. I should have done it.
If you wanted to make it really awkward, you could have just stood there with your dick out.
I mean, that would work.
That'd have been pretty fucking
That would have been
awkward.
awkward, but also in the jail, and then prime setting the house on fire material, because I wouldn't be there to set the fire brigade again.
Kelly, kick fuck out.
So the best bit is she's got a tattoo, Jameson. This is going to really resonate with you.
Yeah.
So Kelly's not hard enough to take her.
Nah,
She's got a tattoo.
she's got a tattoo.
Well, it's the type of tattoo that shows she's a real toughie.
Yep.
You know. Do you like Star Trek, mate?
It's alright.
Nice. Do you like the wee communicators they've got in their chest?
Oh, aye.
I imagine you had that on your chest,
Oh, aye.
like permanently on
That's
your
a
chest.
fucking terrible tattoo.
Someone named
pretty
Rose
bad
had that
tattoo.
as well. Or was it
Someone
on her
I
arm?
know. No in the chest though.
Was it on her arm?
Someone I know had it on her arm. My hood
So there's two people that have that tattoo.
That is,
I mean, it's not a good.
that tattoo's an identifier of a cunt.
It must be. It must be.
To be fair to his hood ex-wife, she didn't try to burn the house down.
Did she try and talk through it? But like,
We did live together at one point, so that was good of her not to burn the house down, because it was prime trying it. And she couldn't have
She could have loved it done with you in it. And
Aye.
2 for 1.
To be fair, the rest of the people in that flat deserve to be burned. No, you know him, but her and the other people.
Dunt.
So, right, we've got into a few scrapes, as I said. I'm surprised I've not told this one story.
Aye.
Because I came to him at my hour of need, and he fucking laughed.
You had an hour of need.
I had an hour
we had
of
an hour of need.
What was your need?
need. There you go, Jameson.
Oh, have I tell the story?
Yep.
Alright, well, from my point of view, I got a phone call. I was sitting playing PlayStation. This was easily 12 years ago. So I'm sitting playing PlayStation in my house, and my phone goes, this daft ass here. It's like, I need your help. Why? What can I possibly help you with? I'm playing PlayStation. He's like, I think I've snapped my banjo string.
Oh no! Oh. Damn it, man!
That's what I heard from the other side of the phone. I cackled.
It's like on the phone, like, what the fuck am I meant?
Aye, like,
Why are you phoning me?
You know that way you go into shock and you don't know what to do. That's what happened.
you're like, I'll phone him.
No a doctor, no an ambulance, Jameson.
How'd you actually like?
Aye.
Oh man, be the worst.
It wasn't good. That reaction.
That's why you don't go in dry.
Aye. Aye. Was this a? I mean, were you solitary, or were you with with someone else?
My girlfriend.
So you're with your girlfriend, it snaps, and you're like, I've got a phone, James.
Aye.
You can't help it.
She's sitting there going, what's wrong? And he's going, I need phone Jameson.
You have no idea that ends wrong. It's instant panic.
Hiding in the bathroom.
I know. I heard about a guy in my year at school that he liked to pleasure himself.
With sand.
Quite a lot with sandpaper, right? And he just did it so many times one day that it went snap. I know it doesn't actually
just
go.
wore it out.
He's just like, fuck. What have I done?
Back.
So there is there is such a thing as too many wanks.
I think that's the main bad ones, you know.
Aye.
The rest of them are just funny.
I do think less of you now.
You shouldn't have thought anything of me to begin with. As most people don't. It's a good arrangement. Is there anything else you can think of?
There's the one when you got your weird kidney stone thing. I don't know what it was when you were in and out the hospital because the doctors were insisting you had an STD.
Aye.
I'll let you tell it because
They were insisting I had an STD, right?
Did you have an STD?
Well, if I did, their fucking tests were terrible because I took, like, genuinely I had like 6 tests in 6 months and I was getting nae shagging at the time because I had really bad problems pissing, so lassies are nae into,
They're not getting
into a broken dick.
also you were in a long-term relationship.
I was in a long-term relationship.
Not like you were on the pool.
But even then, I still wasn't getting any sex. I was like, it hurts, I can't. So I was like, every month's like, oh, it must be an STD. It's like, no, because I was pissing blood and it was bad. That's when you know it's bad. And it's like, right, we'll take this, and the woman's like, right, you can have a scrape or you can piss into this pot. And I was like,
oh, even just the word scrape in that context, isn't he?
You ever had a scrape?
No, I've not had a scrape, and I don't want a scrape.
well, believe it or not, I went for the piss in the pot option. It's like,
good.
I was wanting to say, I was like, is any guy went, aye, a scrape, please? Just can you get 3 up there at once, will you? Just
When I went for a test, they never gave me an option.
Aye.
Like,
You just got a
went, right, I went and I was like, give me the works. I want to know
What's wrong with me?
like, I want to know if there's anything. Like, just do the full set of tests.
shebang.
Let me know. Am I clean?
and they came back.
I was clean, so
They
it's
came
fine.
back and went, you're a baldy bastard.
I was like, oh, fuck. So it's like you get it out and you're lying in the bed and the wee nurse lassie comes in, she's like, right, I'm just going to take a wee swab. It'll be a wee bit of a kind of sensation.
That's the buzzword, isn't it?
Swab, right? I swear to fuck, she shoved a shovel down my dick. it was about a centimetre wide, like straight in, and they twist it. It's brutal. Right, worst part is after they shove a shovel in your willy, they then tell you to give them a pee sample. So you've scraped all the inside of your willy, and now you need to pee at it.
That sounds burny.
Oh, it was very. I was like, could I not have done the pee first?
That'd have been easier.
So it turned out,
She's just sitting there like, no, it wouldn't be as funny this way.
lo and behold, it turned out after the 6 straight STD check, I still didn't have an STD, right? And then I ended up having to go to hospital. And this was the night I lost all respect for people that are doctors, right? Because fuck this woman. Scotland were playing a game that night, right?
Right.
I can't remember who they were playing, but it was at Hampden, and I lived near Hampden at the time. Around the corner from where I live now. So I went in and I hadn't pissed for like nearly a full day. It felt like I was going to explode, but I just couldn't piss no matter how hard I tried. So I was sitting in A&E, just going, right, this is fucking bad. I can't do anything.
Aye.
And then the woman was like, oh, I heard that you were at the Scotland game tonight drinking. Are you sure you've not done a piss and just forgotten about it? And I was like, aye. it's like, I really need to piss. Help, do something. So she's like, right, okay. Well, you seem fine, but we'll just need to give you a wee test. So she got the fucking ultrasound out
Right, aye.
over my belly. Turned out I wasn't pregnant, so that was
That's peace of mind.
turns out I was just a fat bastard. But she's like, oh wait, your bladder is really full. I was like, you fucking think I'd be sitting here going, I can't piss, if I was just like, oh, I've just done loads of pisses, it's fine. So she went, right, there's only one thing to do, just trousers down, bend over that table. The old prostate exam. Now, I'm an optimist in some ways and a pessimist in a lot of ways, but the optimist in me was going, you know what, hopefully by the time prostate checks are a thing for me, by the time I hit 40 or whatever the age is, you need to get them regularly. Hopefully medical science has moved that far ahead that you want to get finger bummed by a doctor in the fucking Southern General. I was like, now I don't know if it's because she's a woman and smear tests are a thing for women and she just saw this as her way to get some fucking revenge back on me. But I think she took about 6 shovels. And it was the same again. It was like, this might hurt a wee bit. She was right, it did hurt a wee bit. And then a lot more after that. And I was just sitting there going, what has my life become? Mid-20s, pantry my ankles getting fucking violated by a doctor. And then in the end she turned around and went, oh no, your prostate's fine. So I was a bit angry about that, because okay, it's good having a healthy prostate, but at the
It's
same
good
time,
to know, but you didn't really need to do that.
no. So in the end I ended up getting rushed to the urology unit, and so it's the Vicky round the corner for me, isn't it? So I was a Surgeon General, was sent to for the Vicky to the urology department, and
You're still needing a piss all this time.
I still need that piss all this time, but they put me in a bed, so I had a wee pan that I couldn't piss into instead of having to go to the toilet to no piss into every 2 seconds. So in the next morning, the doctor came round. They let me have my breakfast. This is where the fucking first part of my problems was. So I was sitting there, I had a wee shitty bowl of porridge. It's like, yes, I've finally got something to eat. And then the doctor came round again with a wee fucking ultrasound again.
Aye.
And I was like, yeah, he's about to like burst. Get him to surgery immediately. And then
Is your porridge ready for you?
well, I'd eaten the porridge, and because I'd eaten the porridge, I couldn't go under local anaesthetic.
Oh fuck! So
Sorry, general anaesthetic. It's the main one that knocks you out. So
had to give you local.
they had to give me local anaesthetic for something that should be done under general anaesthetic. This was the second lowest point of my life in like 12 hours at this point. So I'm sitting there, bollock naked from the waist in. 3 female nurses, like a surgeon. Basically what they did, they had to push a catheter through my belly. Well, I was awake, right? So I've got like another hole in my belly. If I wasn't a fat bastard, I'd show you it. If I was nice and ripped, it would be easy to see, but I need to lift up folds. So this is meant to be done. It was fucking painful, right? But like the nurses are like, so trying to talk to me to take my mind off. So you into football or anything? I was like, don't want to talk about football.
no, what I want to piss.
It's like, you can see my willy. And see, the best bit was, see when they pushed it through into my I don't know why, I just remember they pushed it through into my stomach. It must have moved something because I just pissed right through. So I'm just sitting talking to this nurse with my dick out. She's fucking flying up in the air.
Just like, don't go on my face.
Was that a steady stream or was it wee spurts? Like,
It was just spurts.
oh,
So in the end it turned out I had a narrow
a
in
shitty fountain.
a narrow in my urethra.
Pissy fountain.
Busy fountain.
So that was the emergency surgery, just as my bladder didn't explode. Kind of thing. And a few months later, I think it was when I was living with you, I went for my actual surgery, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
So the actual surgery was a lot better than that. Apart, I still made a cunt of myself though, because apparently I woke up like after the anaesthetic wore off, sat up in the bed in the recovery room, shouted, "Where the fuck am I?" and then passed back out again. The nurse told me that after. And I was,
Where the fuck am I?
so they took me back up to the ward, and I was fucking starving because like you need to fast the night before and everything. And I got there just as it was lunchtime. Like the people in the ward were eating their lunch. I was like, I can't wait for fucking anything because I'm starving. And they're like, oh, you can't eat anything because you're still no recovered for the anaesthetic. We're going to just need to leave you for a while. So that night I had the best mince and totties I'd ever had in my life, through a mouth that I couldn't taste anything in because I had a morphine drip. So I was like just wolfing down this shitty mince and totties. Oh, fucking sorry, it's amazing. And then the bastard nurse, right? As I said, I do respect NHS workers. They go through a lot of shite, but this nurse can fuck off. I was lying in the bed, and they put that wooden table over you so you can sit up and read or whatever. So I had a bag with books and shit like that in it, and I was like, can get all this reading done while I'm recovering. I asked my mum to come up with a bottle of Lucozade for me. She came up with a bottle of vitamin water that was purple and a macaroon bar. I was like, fuck off.
So that's not what I asked for.
It's like the opposite.
Good approximation.
And then it's like, but the nurse, just after my mum left, the nurse came and moved the table away from me over to the other side, and I was trying to reach over, but I was really tender because that's the other bit. They went through the bars to get the bit out my
What? Sorry?
bars, bit between your balls and arse.
Right, alright then.
To do the operation, so I couldn't really walk. I was really tender. I got glued back together. It's not as if it was a fucking
I was a plaster.
I was a plaster. So when it came around, the box of plaster and me up. So I was like trying to reach this table to get all my stuff, so I just had to sit there bored out my tits like till she came back round. I was like, can I have that bag please, so I can
bring
do
that
something.
table over.
Because the only thing I remember from my unplanned stay for the emergency surgery was because I didn't have time to take books or anything with me, so I had to read Frankie Boyle's autobiography because that was the one thing left in the ward. And then like the day after the operation, I managed to wander down the end of the ward where the telly was, and it was the day the Chilean miners came out the hole, so I sat and watched that for a couple of hours because there was nothing else. Like, you any other channels? Like, no, I've only got BBC News. Like, oh, right.
Cool.
So it's like watching them come out the hole in a big fucking cherry picker. I was like,
I remember that.
this is shite. It's like he's Frankie Boyle's autobiography again, please. That was a bit better. So yeah, that fucking sucked. That whole. I'm alright now.
Sounds it, man.
But
Sounds
like,
pretty bad.
I had like 7 kidney infections and was pissing blood for 6 months and just nothing. Like the doctor's like, you sure it's not an STD? It's like, can we roll this out, please?
Like, I hope it was like a different nurse that like for every STD test where they're like,
No.
how hopeful are you here that you're going to have one?
It's as if she's
I
like,
fucking tell you, no.
it's as if this guy's definitely a dirty bastard. I can see in his
Comes
eye.
in every week.
By a bleeding dick. Because like the antibiotics would work for like 3 weeks and then it just come back again, and it's like, at what point do you go, maybe there's an underlying issue? Nobody has a fucking kidney infection like every 3
Naturally.
weeks.
Like,
It's
just-
like, even if they went one time, maybe it's a kidney stone, we'll go and send them to find something else out, you know.
That's some.
But I never have kidney problems. They fucking suck, like bad.
I'll do my best.
Aye.
I'll do my best.
No, he is fuck kidneys, but
It's like I was born with fucked kidneys though, so that's different.
He doesn't debilitate himself by having this sex.
By my wanking.
mad wanking shoving dirt up my belly.
Turbo.
That's all you wanted to. I got off pretty lightly, I think.
I don't know, I can't think of any other like, particularly newsworthy stories. I mean, there's hundreds of just dumb shit that we got up
Getting
to, but
drunk. Remember the time I took you on an adventure?
That's an ominous start. Jameson, let's go on an adventure.
it's nowhere near as bad as it sounds. It's literally just we went climbing with some fences when we were pissed.
It was when the key was getting done up. We used to walk fae the cat house, or well, it was mostly the cat house that we were, to my house afterwards. And one night we always walked through the quay and up the stairs, and for some reason it was getting done up and there was a building site, but I didn't take that as a sign that maybe we shouldn't be
shouldn't
going
go in
through
here,
it.
man.
So I had to climb over fences and jump off walls and things like that.
So it's like we climbed the fence, we're like, fuck it, we get upstairs because we'd walked all the way along at that point. We can walk all the way back to Burger King and up. We'll just hop the fence, the stairs are right there, we'll just go up them.
Aye.
So we climbed the fence, which was way harder than it fucking should have been because we were steaming. And then we got to the top of the stairs and found out the gate was locked. So then we had to climb up the wall onto the top of the wee doorway at the top of the steps. And then we realised when we got there that there's a much deeper drop at the other side. So it's like, at the side we climbed up, it's maybe 7 or 8 foot. At the other side, it's probably 12. So it's like, it's a much more, and so then you're like droopy and down.
I don't know why we didn't think, like, right, obviously
This isn't going to harm.
it's a building site, of course that door's not going to be opened because you wouldn't let people walk into a fucking building site. But no, according to us, like, this is
And we
a
were
big
pissed.
yeah.
These things make sense when you're full of beer and
They do.
vodka.
We've got questions this time, which is fun. I didn't think we would actually get that, considering there's only like 3 people that listen to it. And
One of them's here.
one of them's here. One of
And
them's
so
here.
are we.
It's- Aye,
So, will I get them then?
aye.
I'm excited.
I'm a bit. I can't remember what they are, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay, right, here we are. So, there's one that I'm going to leave for last because we have got a good story about this. Where Jameson had to use an alias to get us out of a bit of bother.
That's temptation right there. That's a tease.
I can't know where that's going.
I'm definitely going to listen to the end of this episode.
So the first comes from Peter Watson,
What?
at Peter Watson on Twitter. I'd guess if you had
What
a Twitter.
a unique listener.
If we had a Twitter.
What is the best / worst school trip you've ever been on?
I've been on to some good ones before. I went to Paris. which is Paris, and I had to go through London to get there. But it was alright. It was pretty decent.
Best part, went to Paris. Worst part, had to go through London.
One of those days where like we had to sail over the channel in a mad boat, and like there was all us running about like we bastards, and there was like the teachers that were trying to pretend that they weren't like getting drunk. They were.
They were totally getting drunk.
Yeah, definitely.
The guy slag off London too much because he was actually born there.
Were you born in London?
Cockney Town.
Aye.
Cockney Town.
Gay hotel.
Aye, I was born. My dad was in the RAF, so I was born Hillingdon, which is just inside the M25 ring.
It's not as good as Hillington though, which is in Glasgow and no London.
And they have a business park.
Hillington, which is in
Hillingdon have a business
Glasgow,
park?
I couldn't tell you. Aye, probably. It's in London.
yeah.
If you were going to start a business park, would you go to Hillingdon?
Probably, aye, fuck it. Your place, Eddie. Back to the question. You ever been a good school trip?
I can't think of any particularly good ones, apart from went to Vikingar in Largs.
No. That's a shite school trip. You ever been? Do you recall Vikingar? It's 3 rooms and a cinema.
The only reason I liked it is because I got picked to dress up as a Viking and got a fucking sword in it. That's the only bit I remember it before, because this was like primary 3 or something.
Aye.
I don't.
It's got like 3 rooms and a cinema and a swimming pool.
It's near Nardini's though, which I don't think was part of the school trip.
It's near Nardini's, I guess.
Near Millport.
Yeah, it's aye.
Did you ever go to like Loudon Castle? Do you remember that place, man?
We did, aye.
I don't
Pretty
think
shite.
is that
Gone now.
Gone now.
Primary
In the
7, I
dark.
think we went to Butlins or something.
Fuck's sake,
Like
yeah.
that. But we had to do to raise money for it. We had to raise money for it ourselves, right? It wasn't like, oh, just take this slip to your mall, get them to pay 25 quid and then you can go to Butlins for the day. It was we had to do a sponsored spelling competition thing
That's
like that.
just shite,
And
isn't
it
it?
was shite. And then in the end I couldn't even go because my dad booked 2 weeks in France for us instead, so I raised all
Is
this
this
money.
in response to you going to Butlins? He's like, fuck no. I want to go to France, mate.
We go to France, to Brittany, and I know this isn't the school trip, but I remember it so well because when we were there, that's when Mike Tyson bit off that other box of Holyfield's ear. So that was like the big news story because we found an English speaking like radio station when we were there.
Aye.
And the whole 2 weeks we were there, it pissed the rain. It was like the worst storms Europe had had
That's
in
from
like,
Butlins.
it was the worst storms Europe had had in like
No one's
50
ever
years
said
or
that
said
before.
that. And I was just sitting there thinking, I wish I was in Butlins, man.
No one's ever said that before.
France is amazing though. I don't know if you noticed this when you were here. They can't drive. It's like fucking
No,
wacky
man.
races.
They're like we were in a big school bus, like I think we were all primary 7, and like you're just going down this mad thoroughfare, looking outside like the things. They just fucking they don't care. They just drive anywhere, man.
They
Like
drive everywhere. Roundabouts are especially fucking dangerous because like everybody just pulls in front of each other while going round, and like you can just sit there with a sandwich in the side of the road, quite far back for the road, right enough so you don't get hit, and just like watch them all day as they all crash into each other
Aye.
and fucking try and park their car while cars are pulling in front of them and things like
the
that.
thing is, they don't even seem to get raging about it. They just kind of like, usually if that would happen, like, you know, somebody cuts in front of you, you'd be like, you're fucking arsehole, but like they're just like, eh. That's just the way it is.
Quite stereotypical that you said that Frenchman goes, it's lit.
Don't let the French listen to it.
You ever been to France?
No,
No. You should go.
I've
It's not-
never witnessed this comical driving.
Oh, it's something.
I don't know if it's a European thing because I've only been to France, Spain and Turkey
Hmm.
and I don't remember it in Spain at all. But the best bit was my dad, we got the boat as well, so we drove, I can't remember if we went to London, but we did go to Portsmouth because that's where we got the boat from, and my dad, being the fucking bellend that he is, came off the boat immediately onto the wrong side of the road for there,
yeah.
and we're driving into oncoming fucking traffic. It's like, what's these guys doing? They're on the wrong side of the road. It's like, no, Dad,
Mate,
you're
you're
on
in
the wrong
France,
fucking
mate.
side of the road.
Dave, do you have a clue?
Fucking useless bastard.
They drove us through like the red light district.
Yes.
Primary 7s.
Did you get
through
it
the-
going?
No, sadly not. No, but we had to stop a few times, and the teachers weren't happy whenever we had to stop.
Seats.
Like, yeah, that's weird, you know.
Hustling the 12-year-old boys.
Oh, it's
So So,
though, man.
what about your school trips?
Nothing like that. Like our best school trip was fucking, I don't even know. Like, I think the best trip that we ever went on when I was a kid wasn't a school trip. It was like a summer camp kind of thing that we went to with like a group, and we were away for like 2 weeks at like a summer camp, and that was good. It was great fun, but. In terms of shite school trips, places like Loudon Castle, or there was one actually in secondary school, I think it was like for physics or something, or maybe it was chemistry. We get taken to the Grangemouth oil refinery. That was it's fucking dire. Honestly, I can't imagine a worse day out in my life. But
there's there's two that stick out from when I was in primary one. One, we went to McDonald's and got shown like ruin the kitchen and things like that. I don't know, like I just remember walking about while people were making burgers and that. I'm sure it was McDonald's, but again, it was 27 years ago, so maybe a bit crazy. The other one, we went to a dry ski slope. Now, I was the complete opposite in primary one of what I am now, and I know, like, no talk about personality wise or anything like that, I was still a wee prick then, but I used to be really tall for my age, and then like I got all my growing done in primary school and just stopped in secondary school.
Everybody else just grew higher than you.
Because in primary one I was in a primary 1/2 class, because primary 1 class was too small, so they just put us together, and I was the tallest one by far in that whole class. And we went to this ski slope, and I got called the worst skier the instructor had ever seen.
Fuck.
And I was like, 1, I'm 5, 2, I'm not a Tory, this isn't something that I do every weekend, this is my first time going down a fucking ski slope, of course I'm going to fall or be shite at it, you know. Go-karts is another one I remember.
We went to go-karts a few times, like a go-kart and Laser Quest, like combo.
You never do anything like that, you just get loud and that's when
I used to shit school trips. We never had any good ones.
Do you remember at Loudon Castle, like they had the kind of, it was like a merry-go-round, but it was in the sky, and there was like all these chairs suspended for like chains and that, and it just went round. One of my pals waited while he was on it.
Oh no!
Just this spray, it just like just vapour. Like people looking up like, is it raining? Like,
all I remember for Loudon Castle, I think it was called the Braveheart, it was like a big sword shaped thing, but like upside down and that's all I can remember. Shite. It was like a worse M&Ds, and think about the...
I'm no surprised it's gone.
Is it gone?
Loudon Castle.
Loudon Castle shut down years ago.
I'm no surprised, but I just didn't know.
The thing I remember about Loudon Castle was on the bus trip there, about 20 minutes before you get there, all you smelt was shite.
That just Ayrshire in general.
It's just the smell of shite as you're driving through all them fields to get to Loudon Castle.
It's not a good smell that you got.
Sets you up for a fucking brilliant day at the bus.
So what's your worst trip?
My worst trip? I'm not really even sure. My worst trip? Don't know, mate. They were all pretty good for me, I think. I mean, there was we went Outward Bound quite a lot in secondary. Did you ever do that? Like,
I don't know what that is.
Do you even know what that is? It's like, I don't know if it was like just a centre somewhere, or if it's some mad scheme that goes on, but like they just get kids out to like weird kind of camping places, and then you go and do like, you know, big long walks, and you learn how to, you know, team build and shit, and you
that sounds fucking terrible.
It wasn't the best, but it was better than fucking school.
Aye, better than being in class, I guess.
Aye.
But at the same time,
you get sick. Like, all split up into like, you know, teams of like 9 or something, and they're your like group, and you all go out and do like different activities each day, and you're there for like a week or something, and it's all under the guise of like, you know, learning how to, you know, how to work together and like and shit like that. And it's just a laugh. It's just a laugh to go and like, you know, rappel down a wee like rope bridge hang. I don't know, fuck. There's loads of different things you did when you were there. It was alright. I can't believe you've not heard it.
No, that's something that has zero interest to me. Going out and talking to people.
Going out in nature. Fuck.
I don't mind nature, it's the talking to people and pretending you need to like them and team building.
They did like just pure randomly put you in groups. So like, I remember when I think it was like second year or something, and I was in a group with like 2 or 3 pals, and then like just shite hops for the rest of it, and like you had to talk to these people, and like, you know, you were walking up the side of like this massive hill. Some of the chat they had was just awful, man.
See, I don't know if I've spoke about my school life here, right? But I went to, and I'm not saying this in a bragging way, but I went to a good school where like
I'm not bragging or anything, but I went to a good school.
No, I mean a good school as in like there was 9 heads, right? Like there was 3 in the whole fucking school. And like
they were the ones that get bullied.
no, whereas Jews went to schools that were fucking 99%
pretty
BAMs.
much,
So
what you're finding out here is that secretly McLennan's a manky fucking Tory.
true.
Hiding his whole life.
so there was like the cool kids, which as if I was fucking in there. Then you had all like the nerdy science kids, which I wasn't in.
Matching video.
Alright. That's
Any bother, Google.
Google wants to help you find Echo Smith. Sorry, Cool Kids by Echo Smith. Apparently. The full lyrics are on Google Play.
You fucked up. So they had the cool kids that obviously I wasn't part of, then all the geeky science kids that I wasn't part of as well. So it was me and like my wee group of friends just in the middle, nowhere near either side. Just like the outcasts with the might as well hang about with the 3 Neds. So things like that would be my ideal fucking hell. Going like you need to go and hang about with like 3 of these cool guys and 3 of the other cunts. Can I not just no bother?
Can I just stay at home?
Mate, I go to nature all the time. You've never been to Pollock Park? There's fucking hundreds of trees there and coos, you know.
I don't think Pollock counts as nature.
No, the park does though. It's a country park. It's got Highland coos and horses.
When's the last time you were outside of Glasgow?
Yesterday I went bread.
When's the last time you were outside of Glasgow but you weren't in Renfrew?
When was the last time you were more than a 10-minute walk away from Iron Brew?
See, I don't think I ever have been. I went to Gloucester once and I found a shop selling Iron Brew. They're fucking farmers and horse racing. So my idea of hanging out with people like that would be fucking awful.
So that would be your worst school trip if you had gone on it.
This thing that Derek went to seems fucking miserable.
It was alright. It was better than being taught things. Manky butt, man. It was kind of funny though. Like, you know, we were in a big like a big dorm room. Like me and my pals and like, you know, some other guys. They just got loved in ways, but like they loved in a few neddy bastards. But no enough nerdy bastards where there was more of us, and I was the kind of more like, you know, the mosher like emo bastard. That was where our group was seen as. Like they were just kind of, we were one of the popular kids, we were one of the nerdy bastards. We were just the ones that heavy liked music. And there was one night with this nerdy bastard. He slept in the bunk below I did, and he was just being an arsehole, like running about with his top off, just trying to like fight with people and just, you know, throwing things about. And we were like, fucking shut up and sit down, man. Like just go to bed, like we're fucking sick of this. And like it got to the point where like one of the teachers came in and like noticed what he was doing, was like, right, fucking get in your bed, fucking get your clothes off and get in your bed. And we all just went, fuck man, teacher just told me to get his clothes off. Amazing, man.
Did you ever see him again? No, was he fired?
I don't know. Well, the next time I seen him, he had a substantially less red face, so I don't watch that. But it was just funny, man. This wee Ned getting fucking told to go to bed.
Get your clothes off and
Get your clothes off and get to bed. As soon as the teachers like were like, "Oh, you going out with Mr. Farrell, huh?" Is he waiting for you behind the shed?
I just remembered a fucking belter of a school trip we went to.
Aye.
Because again we're in the West End, the good bit of Glasgow. It was a lot, you know, Malcolm. He works for Rockstar North now. He took us on a tour of Rockstar. No, his dad was a producer for the BBC, who was the executive producer of Chewing the Fat and Still Game and things like that. But a guy in our school, Dougal, his dad done the same thing, but he was the executive producer. Do you remember Fully Booked, the kids TV? It was like Live and Kicking, except it was a Scottish version that had Gail Porter presenting it and 2 guys who I can't remember. So we got to go in that in the audience. That was exciting. I also went in Funhouse as well with the school. I was in the audience, I wasn't in the show. Remember that? Funhouse with that.
You never got to ride the go-karts.
I never got to ride Melody.
You never got to ride the twins.
Or Pat Sharp.
Did you like, you know, we're like a generation out, right? But was wait a minute, like me for you, right? But was 50-50 a thing you used to watch? Like
50 existed, aye.
I remember the show.
Don't know if you were too aged.
Brothers and sisters watched. How old are you?
What?
How old are you?
25.
So 7 years is
7
a
years,
fucking
aye.
generation.
To me, aye.
When you're talking about your childhood, it kind of is.
Like with the amount of trends.
By the time he was starting primary school, we were finishing it.
Aye.
By the time he was starting secondary school, we were finishing it. Like, it is a generation.
There's a difference, man. I was always fucking annoyed at my school never did the 50-50 thing. I
It's
was
because
like,
your school was full of arseholes though.
probably, eh?
My school was also for arseholes.
Did you just get in 50-50?
Fucked if I know.
No,
But
they
I
were
remember-
arseholes, did you not hear? Did you get in 50? Yours weren't arseholes, so did you get on 50?
I bet they did.
No
I
problem.
bet they were on every fucking weekend.
The defending
Tory
champions.
bet they were on fucking University Challenge.
No, this goes to show the
Leaving
difference
the
between
kids
my
watching.
school and your school, right? A lassie in my year was on University Challenge one week, and she was like the hottest lassie in my school. She was fucking stunning, and she was on the Oxford team on University Challenge one week. That's the kind of school I went to.
Oh,
Your
Fucking Tory bastard.
your school's
My one has a guy that is, as far as I know, cutting about the streets with a golf club looking for me. Like,
your schools has people that like, regularly appears on Don't Pay, We'll Take It Away about it.
did you hear about the story of, like, I think it was about a year ago now, about like some guy that was he lived in like kind of Govan Hill way, I think, and he get picked up by the police because he was scamming like all these old biddies with like their bank details and all that. Like, do you remember hearing that? I mean, it happens probably quite often,
gonna
right?
say, aye.
But like this guy was like, you know, multi-millions of like pounds stolen and shit like that. He'd like fled to like Pakistan and stuff to like try and evade the police. That gun went to my school. So that's the bench point.
The famous people for your school.
Just Stan Laurel.
What did you go to your school? I didn't know that.
Stan Laurel.
As in Laurel and
As in
Hardy.
Laurel and
As
Hardy.
in
I'm
actual
a massive
Laurel.
Laurel and Hardy fan. I didn't know that. Might need to go up and go, alright.
He was here.
He's
Is that true?
Why would they make that up from all the fucking people?
It just seems like
A guy who was famous 100 years ago, will go with him, you know, they'd just think to
You
change.
just got to check. They would probably, wouldn't they?
No, it's true.
Fair enough.
And
There's
Jameson, obviously.
some famous author as well. I can't remember what it was. It was like guy who wrote fucking Guns in Navarone or something.
Oh,
Also attended. But that's like.
did you know him?
Aye.
Ah,
No. I was bluffing.
Damn it.
Is it Ian Banks? Is he no Scottish?
Aye.
Travis went in my school?
Travis Barker.
No, just Travis.
The band.
Oh, the band Travis. See, Travis are so fucking low down my list of bands I can recognise. I just assume you're talking about some guy who I can think of.
Some guy called Travis.
Some guy called Travis.
Hi, Travis down the road.
Good idea, good boy.
I don't know if anyone famous went in my school.
Except for the lassie that was on University Challenge.
Saying that's famous is kind of
She was on the telly.
She was on the telly
That's
once.
what
Sorry, that's
I was on the
updates.
telly and fully booked. That didn't even half famous either. It was in the
Aye, but
audience.
it's a bit of difference when you're in the audience and like she's in University Challenge.
McLaren was on the telly in Pennsylvania.
in Pennsylvania, aye.
Really?
Aye.
Season 1, 2.
Oh, that's a fucking
A speaking role.
aye.
Aye,
I
it was.
stopped in the street
Showing up.
to ask me. He sang a song. He's like a few seconds. He was doing an American character for some reason, but it's like, if you can name this song, I'll give you a prize. And then started singing in the middle of Buchanan Street outside the
It
old
was a
Virgin.
fucking very good rendition of the song as well, but you never got
I
it.
never got it.
Did you ever find out?
Something for signing
Castlevania theme tune.
No, wasn't it?
It was a Castlevania
I
theme
would have
tune.
got that. Aye, but that's a fucking throwback to when Jesus Christ, man. Should have seen the neck of me.
Skinny McLaren.
Skinny McLaren with the fucking worst hair I've ever had.
Was this like you know, was this mohawk stage or mullet stage or just letting it go
No,
stage?
this was 19-year-old big hair because it grows out the way instead of down the way.
Jufro McLaren.
So have we covered trips then? No, this is what I was going to say about Fully Booked, right?
Aye.
It was in mid to late 90s, probably about 97. Was John Collins still playing for Celtic then?
Probably.
Because John Collins was a guest on it.
Yes.
So, and it was recorded on a Friday but showed on a Sunday morning, right? But so there was like no, our guest is John Collins, and like the floor manager or whatever they're called was like, right, everybody clap, and then half the audience just started booing. So they had to go, cut, right, we need to do that again. You're meant to cheer. That's the one thing I remember.
all the Tories don't like working class footballers, that's what it was.
That's
They invited a Tory school on and then brought a football player.
They're like, what do you mean, does he play cricket? Or like,
What's this soccer nonsense?
Yeah, talking to Tories and that. remember you see everybody pretending that rugby's an acceptable sport yesterday because Scotland beat England.
Yeah, everybody became a rugby fan yesterday. All of a sudden.
My favourite tweet was for a guy known affectionately as Redneck Deck,
Right.
tweeting out people called Fraser Campbellson and Campbell Fraserson will be really happy than that. Yep.
Yeah, it would be. Getting her all over the place.
It's alright because Scotland won the rugby and then I went to see the Clan get fucked by Dundee, so it was a pish night Oran.
It's good, that sounds. The Braehead clan. That used to be.
I know the Ku Klux Klan.
Dundee's just really taking this racism seriously.
Fucking Dundee.
Get the flights booked.
Did they vote yes? I think they did. So
Aye.
we'll
I think so.
Aye, they're good
boys.
good boys.
Did Edinburgh vote yes?
No.
Did they fuck?
Of course they did. They're your lot.
Fuck.
Dunt.
So right, what are we talking about? Trips? Have we done
Trips,
with that?
aye,
then?
what the aye.
I can't remember.
Had some alright trips, had some no alright trips.
Funhouse would have been a belter of a trip if they let me have a shot of the Funhouse or the go-karts, but I did get a ruler that said Funhouse on it.
So you had proof that you were there.
I was briefed it. I don't have anymore, so this
I was
could
never
all
into
be a lie.
Funhouse as a kid. I always preferred Finders Keepers. I wanted to go on Finders Keepers a lot when I was away.
It's not that I was into Funhouse. They went, do you want to go and watch it get recorded and get a day off school? And I was like,
You were like the twins.
they were a bit of a sexual awakening for me as well. At like 8, just seeing these two probably hoofing blondes, but because I was 8 and had no idea what was going on, I was like, they're alright. I like they were cheerleaders, weren't they? That's what they were meant to be. I'm sure they had pom-poms
Probably.
or something like that.
I don't remember. I just remember it was Pat Sharp and the twins.
The twins.
What, that was what they were credited as? Like,
They-
fuck's sake.
Yeah, because it was a red team and a yellow team, so you had one for each.
One twin each.
One for each team, and Pat Sharp.
Split the twins.
I don't even know what Pat Sharp is. You know, it's just an Australian guy with
a bad
beautiful mullet.
DJ.
A bad DJ. Aye, so Finders Keepers was a belter though. I do agree with you. Though I didn't like it when they got Jet for Gladiators as a presenter as well. You know, see that?
No.
The later series.
How did I miss this? Jet for Gladiators.
Get a box set.
Oof.
Was I
Talk about sexual awakenings.
I was more in. There was a blonde in Gladiators. I can't remember her name.
I can't remember most of that. I remember, like, you know, Wolf, because everybody remembers Wolf, but I wasn't really into Wolf.
No, not in that way, no.
Not that way, no.
It was I liked wrestling, right? But I fucking hated Gladiators. Why? Because it was so forced.
Aye, but it was good, but
You've got a pensioner in a fucking leotard pretending to be a wolf getting booed by everyone. It's like,
aye,
But if you've got a pensioner in a leotard pretending to be a wolf and getting booed by everybody in a wrestling ring, that's fucking
fine.
cool.
leave Kid Lycos out of this. He's a good young boy. No, but it was just so fucking. It was so fake. And I know wrestling's fake, but this just seemed to be a whole. It was like
a whole level.
it was
of
more
fakeness.
like a pantomime. I know that's a British thing that you're all fucking pantomime, but they're pish and all. I fucking hate pantomimes, especially the Crankies. Apart
Oh
from
my
when she,
days, man, the Crankies are so shit.
apart from when she fell off the beanstalk, that would have been hilarious, right?
Albeit unplanned.
Did wee Jimmy fall off the beanstalk? I thought the beanstalk fell on wee Jimmy.
I don't know. One time I went to see Ross Noble, and it was in the same place that was, and he just stopped all of a sudden, and he went, "Oh, I think I just saw wee Jimmy Cranky's face." in bed in California." So she did. Something happened where she hit the deck. My auntie Maureen actually worked with her before she was Jimmy Cranky.
Aye.
My auntie Maureen is in her 70s now. How the fuck old is Jimmy Cranky?
Oh, she must be.
Well, Jimmy Cranky was like 50 in the 80s.
Fuck's sake.
So
And they're still doing pantomimes down south. Stop
fucking
employing.
Crankies, man.
It's like
I did get confused when I was really young, because like my dad was a Butlins dad, and he used to like take us to all that pish, and he'd see Orvo and all that, you know, the mad puppets and hand puppets, and I really did
is that the
think
duck, the green duck?
the big green duck and all that, but I'd only heard of the Crankies, and the way it was presented to me, heavy thought it was just a dude with a hand up some like wee boy. So when eventually I saw him, I was like, "That's fucking amazing!" It's like she's running about by herself, and I'm like,
It's the best puppet I've ever
I
seen.
didn't even see the strings. And then like I realised it's an actual human.
It's an old woman dressed as a wee boy.
This is kind of shite now.
Have you read their autobiography? Apparently they're swingers, so they might use her as a puppet.
Oh fuck! That'd be bad.
They're bad. They are fucking awful. Scottish entertainment's always been pish though. Like, so we had the Crankies, we had the fucking those two old cunts that they wheel out every year for Hug Me Nae with the fiddle and the fucking accordion.
Phil and Ali.
Is that what they're called? You don't see them. It's like when like The Damned or like an old punk band plays in Glasgow and all these old cunts turn up with like leather jackets and pink mohawks and you go,
where are you hiding
We don't
the
do
rest of the year?
where are you the rest of the year? You just appear. One time I was at a gig, I think we went with you, when we went to see the Exploited in Penshead were supporting.
I don't think so, no.
There was a fucking old punk cunt standing outside with like the double mohawk king with the
fuck!
Right, he had two pit bulls, and I was just, I was like, did you take them into the fucking gig? It's like, one for me and two dogs, please. Is that, could I get a concession for them? They don't take up
a wee bowl of what?
So
just leaving tied up outside the entire gig.
No, it's just so Phil and Ali, get to fuck. Jackie Bird, get to fuck.
Tory.
We work next to the BBC building, right? And the other day I went in, they've got a wee canteen so we can go for lunch, and they've got like a big photo of Jackie Bird stuck to the window as you go in, and the other newsreader, who I don't know her name, was it Sally Magnuson? Or is she Channel 3?
She has a newsreader, so I'm guessing.
And I was just looking at it, it's like, I don't want to go in here anymore because fucking Jackie Bird's a cow. And Mrs. Brown's Boys is filmed there. The fucking
is that where that's filmed?
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, man.
Because I was going to try and get Kelly tickets for her Christmas. She fucking hates it. Just as a wee joke.
I'm going to take this away from somebody else just so we can laugh at the time.
They advertised the other day that they're opening up the ticket draw thing for the next season, and it was like, I was thinking that'd be good to take Melissa's granny because she's old and she loves all that stuff. And it was like the person whose name's on the ticket has to be there. I think I guessed you only get 2 tickets, but the person whose name has to have ID. I was like, right, sound, put Melissa's name in. So I'm not watching that shit.
That's fine though, because you can get the tickets in your name and then give them to your dad. At least he can go in your place. And you hate him enough to do that.
He likes it again.
Must be an older.
Oh, it's a guy in a dress.
My mum likes it as well. And like,
it's awful.
It's the funniest comedy you can get. A guy in a dress, man. It's just like hilarious.
And they're not even good at their jobs because they keep fucking up.
And the best bit is like when you say it, like my mum and dad always like, but that's what makes it funny. But so it's only funny because
they're bad
can't
at
do it right. Like,
exactly.
It's funny because they fuck the lines all the time.
Mrs. Brown Boy's fucking awful. And I know it's technically no Scottish, but I feel that we need to take some of the blame for that because it's filmed here. We should just nip that in the fucking bud because it's shite. Everybody should just, the only entertainment you need is this podcast, obviously. Two good boys.
Nathan for you.
The Scottish classic
of
Nathan
course.
for you. Is Nathan a Scottish name?
Maybe. I don't know. I thought you said entertainment.
No, Scottish entertainment.
Scottish entertainment. Alright.
His name's Nathan Fielder, and there's loads of fields in Scotland. So
that's the.
Just listen to us in Two Good Boys. No, I was watching Chewing the Fat recently because it's on Netflix. It's no age well.
Is it not?
No. Most sketch shows don't.
Apart from Mr. Show, but we can't claim that.
No,
because
it's not even vaguely Scottish.
No, Tom Kenny's kind of a Scottish name. We can claim him.
Kenny's kind of a Scottish.
Plus, he's the voice of SpongeBob, and SpongeBob is beloved in Scotland, so we're
national treasure.
He's basically Scottish.
It's funny, he's a sponge, but nothing Scotland owns sponge.
Are you okay, buddy? I'm okay. Good thing we made you wear that cardboard box, eh? Or you would have got deckered.
My name's Ray, and I love riding a redneck launcher.
You see the last episode we were talking about how we went to his house for New Year, and that's when we realised we couldn't be fucked with New Year anymore. I think it's because Phil and Ali were on at one point.
That's what it was. It was Phil and Ali came on and we just went fucking Dunt, man.
The only reason we had it on was because just to see when it was the bells, and they're just sitting there watching. I found best Scottish entertainment. I just remember that Jimmy Shant. Jimmy Shant and his Kayleigh band.
Oh,
Bitsocket.
Well, this is the thing.
The Bitsocket version is the best Scottish entertainment.
Me and Jameson have had 2 musical mishaps in our life, right? The first time is when we tried to listen to Aqualung by Jethro Tull after watching Anchorman.
Waiting for the flute solo.
Waiting for the flute solo. And it turns out there's no flute solo. And the other time was when we were like trying to find a Jimmy Shan song that had singing in it, and it turned out he didn't sing either.
There wasn't any.
We were sitting on Spotify for like 10 minutes going, right, maybe this one's got singing. No, right, this one. And it was just, what a new year that was. No wonder we fucking love it.
Oh God.
Fucking New Year. Did you know anything last year then?
No.
I didn't even bother asking you because like even if he says I come in, I don't want to.
We sat and watched Doctor Who, and then it got to midnight and we like watched the fireworks on the telly, and then we put Doctor Who back on after it and continued drinking and eating shite just ourselves.
that sounds fucking delightful.
It's fine when you're younger and you've got youth and energy on your side, but we're at that age now where that's long gone.
That's gone.
Drained out of us by accidentally watching Mrs. Brown's Boys and going to work. Just life in general. I don't know, because like Kelly's 6 years younger than me, so I don't know if she's still at that age where she actually wants to do stuff because she's younger in mid-20s rather than old and decrepit and early 30s like me. So it's like, but I just don't even bother asking her and just go, right, we're not going we're not going to.
It's not happening.
If you want to go to the Rum Shack, which is round the corner or something like that, cool, because we can get home in 5 minutes. But if anything else, get to fuck, you know. Because we used to go, remember that time we went to the Barfly for New Year?
Fuck no.
No,
That
it was bad.
It was a barfly, so I can buy that.
We used to go to the Barfly, and I don't know why, because it played pish music.
Yeah.
And it's full of pish people like Div for Psychodelic who worked the door, and the only good thing about him working the door was he let me in for nothing. But
I mean, that has its benefits, but to a point.
He did.
Like,
he let me in for nothing, but then he spoke to me. That's because he worked in the door and he'd go, alright McLean, how you doing? Alright Div, and he'd turn around to the till and go, I just let he's fine, he's with me or whatever, and it's like sorted. But then he'd come like when he was walking round later on to make sure there was no trouble, we'd stop to talk to me.
Speak to you and you'd be like, didn't realise that's what I'll just pay.
Unless you're going to like turn around and go to the bar, he's with me, just give him a few pints and please don't. Yeah.
That was a good thing about when Classic Grand opened up, and like we knew all the staff.
All the bar staff.
Right. So it was like you knew the people that were working the doors, you knew the people that were working the bars, so you get like doubles. Every time you get to the bar you were getting doubles
For like
every
50
time.
pence or something.
You didn't have to pay to get in the door. It was dynamite.
Like
And then I think the place went bankrupt or something, I don't know why.
that place.
Probably dishing out free
knows?
drinks and no charging people to get in, you know?
Couldn't be that.
Remember that
couldn't be
was like more popular in the Cat House at one point?
Aye.
What
Well, that's not hard to believe because the cat is.
No, the Cat House is fucking
The
terrible.
worst.
But it's the fact that it went from like opening, doing alright, to overtaking the Cat House as like the premier place to bankruptcy all in like a couple of years. It's like, what happened here? It's like, how did this happen?
Aye. Yeah, you been to Cult?
No.
Barry's new club?
Oh, no. Is it
No,
shite?
I don't know, I've not been.
I thought Melissa would have dragged you to it in all honesty.
No.
She tried.
She did try, aye, but I tell her no. I'm too old for it.
No,
I'm a boring old bastard.
Every
I'm
now
not
and
go
then-
clubbing.
I want to get to that stage. Like I'm still at 25, where it's like I'm on out. It's like I don't really want to. And it's like you're only young. It's like I want to be a few more years older so I can just be like, nah.
I kind of want to go on a night
be
out
done.
just one time. Just like to see.
So you can remember how shite it is. And be like,
So you
oh,
can
never,
sta-
no doing that again.
So you can stand in a queue at the bar and go, this is amazing.
Because the other week, I went to the pub.
Really?
Fuck's sake.
sake.
I went to Rufus and drank like.
Fucking hell. That's where you
I
went
just
wrong.
wanted some fucking Joker, right? And I was like, where sells Joker? Rufus
Pretty much
or
everywhere
Nice
these
and
days.
Sleazy's, and I couldn't be bothered going to Nice and Sleazy's, so I just went to Rufus because it was closer. And I drank like 5 or 6 pints, and I was just sitting there going, this is kind of pish, right? Because they were playing really bad music. It was all female bar stuff. One was from up north and she had no volume control, so she just shouted the whole time, and it's like, shut up. Like, so I went in, like, I was waiting Kelly, I went in, like, could I have 2 jokers please? Like, that'll be £8 whatever, and it's like, shh. It's like,
Wait. She was up north and had no volume control. Is it the cowboy?
I forgot to mention, Todd, we spoke about the cowboy in the first episode. We went to a gig a few months ago, I think it was just after Halloween, wasn't it? We went to see Lightyear. It was about November time anyway, and me and him hadn't seen Cowboy for about 10 years or something like that. And the whole build up to it, I was like, fuck man, we're going to bump into Cowboy because Lightyear are back together for the first time in like 15 years. He was a big Lightyear fan, we're going to bump into him. So about fucking 3 seconds after getting there, we bump into people who we do actually like, Shug and Boy Danger, and then fucking Cowboy came marching in right after him, and I was like, fuck, is that Cowboy? And then he was wearing this shite fucking like denim waistcoat kind of thing. I was like, fuck, is that Cowboy? And then it's like Dropkick Murphys fucking Green Day patches. I was like, that's Cowboy. And he kept looking over at us. he kept looking over at us, and we were just like, no selling that. And I came over and spoke to Boy Danger and Shug, and me and him just kind of turned around and spoke to each other.
Genuinely fucking blanked him.
until he went away again. It's like, right, we can talk to them too again, because he's shite.
He's brutal. But aye, talking about folk from up north who've got no volume control. Cowboy.
Yeah. And the thing, the last time we saw Cowboy, I might have mentioned this, was me and him walking behind him.
You did mention it.
You speak going, Cowboy.
Aye, you talked about that in the first episode.
That actually fucking sums him up, because he's shit.
God damn.
So Northerners, they can fuck off as well.
But that's a sweeping generalisation.
I know, like straight away. Like.
No, but this lassie she kept shouting, like, and it's like, can you please keep it down? Know? And the music was quite loud because it's a pub, but all you could hear was her shouting over the top of it from behind the bar, just to the usual clowns that go in, I'm assuming. But then they played some of the worst music ever played in a pub at one time, because it was all female bar stuff at the time. They must have went, right, we're going to put on all these bands that are female front people. So we had Garbage, pish. No Doubt, pish. Save Ferris, pish. And then Texas came on, Black Eyed Boy, and I was like, I'm into this. So I forgot they fucking existed.
That's how you knew you were getting old. You're sitting in Rufus rocking out to Texas.
Made her proud.
Yes, Charlene.
She's in her 50s now, man. That's when I realised I was getting old, because I saw a thing about her online. It's like, oh, Charlene Spiteri gets married or something like that, and it's like, aye, Charlene 53 married so and so. I was like, man, she was like young when I was she was young 20 years ago. Who'd have guessed?
Who'd have thought?
People get old, who'd have fucking thought?
If she's 53, then 20 years ago she was older than you are now. She was young.
She was fairly attractive. She was fairly attractive back in the day, even though she looked like she got hit by that guy that after Derek with a golf club right in the nose. She has got a funny nose.
Maybe he got confused.
Fucking pears.
Sorry, with a guitar one day. So it fucking must be him. Fuck, sorry, hen. Right, so we're going ready for the second question.
I'll go for the second question. I'm intrigued by this now, man.
We'll bring you in first, because me and Jameson have got a good one for it.
Oh, right, okay.
On the
let's
spot.
have a look. I need to open up WhatsApp again, because
Did you feel this tension building here?
Aye.
What is your favourite story involving the police? Sorry.
But like stinging the police?
That joke was made in the WhatsApp group by someone.
I think my gran had this pal that she'd known like all her life when she grew up. Crinkly fucking she had this pal like that she'd known like throughout most of like his life. He's dead now, unfortunately, but he was this weird collector dude where he would just collect anything kind of militaristic at all. But he had like fucking went up to his house one time and he had these like kind of falsified like firearms and shit like that, just like a collection of guns and shit. And I remember he brought out this wee box and it had all these bullets in it, and he was like, "Here you go, wee man," and he gave me 2 bullets. And I was like, alright, I'm 11, cool. So I took them and I was like, this is the best shit ever, man. So I start school, I go to first year and I see this mad 5th year girl, and I think she's like the best having a bad person, man. It was like proper emo ghetto, man. I was like, this is way awakening something here. And she was always in the same carriage, like when we were going home from school. And just being a bold wee 11-year-old bastard, I'd always like try and say something, even though like there's no chance the end's going to happen. But it surmounted to the point where like I offered her a bullet because I thought she'd be kind of into that. And she was like, that's pretty sick, and took a bullet off me, and I was like, cool, I've got a bullet, she's got a bullet, it's meant to be. About 3 days later, I get pulled out of my English class, and they were like, we need you to go and speak to some men upstairs. And I was like, alright. And I go in this room and there's that lassie there just sitting, just pure nonchalant, like looking all gorgeous. There was this really fucking angry teacher holding a bullet, and he went, so did you give, if you want to hear this bullet? And I went, I did. And he went, we're gonna have to phone the police. And I was instantly like, I've done something wrong here. Like I've messed up somewhere. So they phoned the police and they cart themselves up to the school, and they gave me a right good telling. Apparently you're not really supposed to give bullets out to people. That's not really a good thing. They were deactivated, which I should have probably been told at some point, when I received the bullets. And they weren't too pleased at having to come down to tell somebody no to have bullets and don't give them out to folk and all that. So I was a bit shaken after that incident.
I'm trying to figure out your thinking here, right? There's this lassie, we'll say for argument's sake, 4 or 5 years older than you.
Aye.
If I gear a bullet, she'll be into
I was heavy into bullet for my Valentine, so I think I'd made that connection.
See, knowing how pish your music tastes are, I don't know if
If it was anybody else saying that, I think that was a joke.
Who are you? We don't know. I don't know. I think I just had it in my head that like, if I give her this bullet, then she has to talk to me. She has to remember it. I'll be the bullet guy.
If I give her this bullet, maybe she'll take it as a threat, and then she'll have to talk to me, because
my deviant 11-year-old mind wasn't really thinking that.
There's more where that came from.
Mer in the chamber.
It's like this creepy old man gave you bullets.
Yeah, he did, aye.
And I was wondering where the story was going as well, because you said he's dead now, unfortunately,
dead now.
and then spoke about how he gave you bullets, and I was just imagining this horrible accident that happened.
No, I think he just died.
Right.
Don't know where his bullets are now though. Don't know where. Might have been buried with him.
Is this a legal collection here, by the way?
I don't know. I don't
So
know.
if they were deactivated, then I would imagine so.
They asked me where I got them, and I wasn't a grass, so I just said I found them.
I found them in the...
Found these 2 bullets in a park. And then I gave one to a lassie I fancied.
So where did you get these 2 World War II bullets? Found them.
Just in a stank. So what's your story with a Polish?
This is one that's a combined effort on both our parts, where we'll just say that for a while, PC White of Mary Hill Police, I was top of his hit list. The most. Now, before we get to the story, I'll just say I don't know if he was the most incompetent police of all time, because you'll see from the story we're about to tell how that could be.
Aye.
Or if he was just trying to scare us and failed. Because the aforementioned, remember I talked about last year, I fucking drop kicked while on a swing.
Aye.
Right. I was seeing her, and for some reason her mum decided that me and Jameson had kidnapped her. Right?
Right.
Whereas
I think she primarily decided that McLaren had kidnapped her.
Whereas
You were an accomplice.
I was there, but I wasn't the one accused of the kidnapping.
Whereas in reality we were at Kelvin Grove Park, and then this is another thing we used to do. We used to go to Kelvin Grove Park to J. Kelvin drink, and then there was a common room at the Glasgow Uni Halls of Residence that we just used to hang about. So we were hanging about there, and it was like fucking 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon or something like that, prime kidnapping time.
Of course.
So my phone rings, my Nokia 3210 or whatever rings. I was like, is that Stephen McLernan? I was like, aye. I was like, this is PC White of Mary Hill Police. I was like, right. And then it's like, we've had a phone call about you kidnapping someone. I was like, right. Yeah, it was like, we'd been smoking weed all day. That's when we done that. So I was like,
So it's worth pointing out we were high as shit.
high as shit. So I got a wee bit paranoid at this point,
You
right?
would do.
And I just went, Jameson, deal with this. So you take the phone off me. I went, hello. He was like, somebody just said the same part that he said to me, and he went, was it, he asked your name?
He's like, yeah. He's like, I take the phone and I'm like, hello, who's this? And he's like, this is PC White at Maryhill Police. Who am I speaking to? And I went, David. He's like, David who? I was like, Smith. He's like, well, David. I'm not entirely convinced that he believed that was my name.
Probably not. I know.
He was like, we've had reports that you've kidnapped somebody. I was just like, I've no. What are you talking about?
No.
He's like, we can trace this call, you know. I went, really? He's like, hi. So, alright, bye. Hung up and turned the phone off. I was like, it's just like,
Just imagine him on the other end of the phone, like, fuck.
he's just like, we're not going to tell them.
So needless to say, it didn't turn up. But I can't believe you missed out so many stories about us hanging about the common room. People really respected us because they'd come in and go, do you go to uni? It's like, no. It's like, so why are you here? It's like, we've got a bag of weed, we've been drinking, we just wanted to smoke some weed.
It's like we can get high in here, it's cold outside, and you've got Sky.
The pool table, Sky and the telly, and toilets. So you're fucking sorted, man. You just sat in the couch watching TV smoking weed.
That sounds delicious.
So one night we were sitting there and two Canadian lassies came in. And they're like, do you want a game of pool? I was like, fuck, whatever, aye. And so we were high as fuck, right? We were trying to play pool badly. And then I think we won somehow, or we would have.
We would have, aye.
If we were playing standard.
If we hadn't been playing Canadian rules.
Aye, Canadian rules pool. So apparently Canadian rules pool was you had to pot the black and then the white straight after it, which in a normal game of pool is a foul.
Aye.
But no in Canadian rules. But every time we had to take a shot, one of them had a fart keychain.
That seems like really like they wanted. The only reason they came in was to play pool, to fuck with people,
just to fuck with the two stoned guys. So it's like, them two stoned guys are in the common room again. Do you want to go wind them up?
try and make them think that they're fucked.
So like every time they push this fart button and then sit and giggle, and then one of them had like a lighter that was like a mobile shape or something stupid. So one of them, when I was about to hit a shot, they went, oh yeah, by the way, someone's phoned for you. So I'm like, alright, cool. Might be PC White again. Something sort of like talking into this lighter and so, you fucked it. And it's like, I don't know what's going on here. Can we just finish it?
She made you look at your phone?
No,
that was a joke?
She had a lighter that was shaped like a phone.
Oh, right,
but I was so stoned that I thought someone had phoned me on it. And I was like,
right, I see.
And it's like, why is this happening to us? What did we do to deserve it? Though there was one time I got a cop block, him and myself a fucking bees. Two lassies came in, like, oh, we're just back for a night out. So alright, cool. And they're like, oh, this is when we're both skinny and handsome as fuck. So they're like, we're sitting watching something.
I believe that.
And stoned as fuck. And they're like, oh, yeah, we need to take our pal over because she was out with us in the night out, but she got too steaming, so she's in a bad way. It's like, alright. And she's like, do you want to come over? I went, oh, watch the telly. Watch the telly just now. It's like, I might come over later. And like, alright, we just live up there. So like 5 minutes went by. I was like, right, let's go to that lassie's house, and we're like looking round trying to find it.
Fuck, man.
Failed.
That's disastrous. How raging were you?
The worst part was that the reason that he wanted to stay in the common room was because he wanted to watch some wrestling. He was waiting for the wrestling to come on.
What fucking loser.
I think do you know I've had a few things like that where you're like in retrospect you're like, oh, I totally just squandered a chance there. Somebody bought me a drink. That never fucking happens to me. This lassie bought me a drink and I was like, thank you. And she's like, alright, so what are you doing here? It was like some mad wee like nightclub thing. I was like, oh, just out with some pals. And she's like, oh, that's good. Where are they? And I'm like, oh, they're over there. Bye. I just left. Then like 20 minutes later, like, oh shit, this was free. Oh fuck.
Just like, I've PC whited it.
Have you ever like sent your pal to the bar? We used to go to Fury Murray's, the one in Paisley where you get fucking stabbed immediately. I used to one in Glasgow behind St Neots Centre. It's a strip club now, I think.
Nah, it was, well, it might be, but it was, it used to be, you go in downstairs.
Aye.
Above it was a strip club.
Oh, is
but the Furies was down in the
So
basement.
we went down one time and like it was, you might have been there, but it was me, Johnny and Kenny, and we were just buying each other drinks all night because it was like a pound of fucking vodka or whatever. So I was getting vodkas and then Johnny was like, right, it's my round, and he came back with this bright orange drink with a fucking sparkler in it. What the fuck? And I was like looking at it, I was like, what the fuck's this? Like, I don't know, 2 lassies in front of me got it, so I decided to get us it as well. It was like £7 each. I was like, I'm not going to drink this. And I was like, no, I'll be alright. And he didn't even wait for the fucking sparkler to go out, and he's trying to fish it out of the drink so he could drink it. I was like, you're going to burn yourself here, you fucking idiot. So I just gave it to a random lassie, hoping to get my hole, and she's like, oh, thanks very much. Oh, there's my boyfriend. I was like,
Gotcha.
yeah, okay. So
Gutted.
at least I tried, but failed. You just fucking failed.
I was
You
just
didn't even
oblivious. I was like so resolute that like, why the fuck would you ever buy me? Why would any lassie ever buy me a drink out of the blue? And I was like, that's not going to happen. So when it did, I'm like, nah,
Nah, it didn't happen.
I didn't happen.
Then 20 minutes later,
I need a piss. I'm alone.
One time Jameson was fucking a sexual beast in the guys. He's just sitting there.
What, he's a sexual beast outside the car. Anybody want to win?
come on, be honest.
So he was sitting there and this lassie just came over. I don't know if you remember. He was
I
fucked.
do recall the story,
This
but only
last-
because you've told me it. I don't recall it actually happening.
This lassie just came over. He was sitting in a seat just like fucked. The lassie came over, sat in his knee, arms around his neck like that. Like, I've got a party, you coming? And I was like, Jameson, this is a bad idea because his sister lived in
Supposed to
Newcastle.
be going to Newcastle in the morning. Probably shouldn't have been
And the
at that
wrestling's
club
coming
anyway. No, wrestling's coming on, aye.
So it was like coming up for 3. He had to leave his house at 6 to go to Newcastle. I was like, this is a bad idea. He's like, no, I'll go to theirs for an hour and then I'll come back to Newcastle. I was like, I'll speak to you then, right? No. So like, the other favourite part of the story is that next was at the time you woke up steaming still, put on 2 mismatching shoes, and then had a freak out at the.
No, this is the worst. This is the part, like, because the next morning I don't recall the bit about the lassie, but I recall the next morning getting up, still steaming, putting on the odd shoes because I was steaming, getting in the motor, and like my sister's version of this story is that I like suddenly just goes, I need pee. When in actual fact what happened was I wasn't asleep in the car or anything. I was sitting there and I was just like, went to the next service station. My dad was like, about 20 minutes, I was like, can we stop? I need to pee.
That's as simple as it
That's not what I was going to talk about. This is something his dad told me. They stopped at Gretna. And
We stopped at the service station.
He tried to get a daily record or something. Something happened. They had English papers. And apparently he shouted English bastards. According to his dad, I don't know if he did or no, but I can see you doing that.
I did say something about them only having shite papers. Did they call anybody an English bastard?
Should have, but
to their face.
we went to one time I went to Newcastle with him, and it was your sister's boyfriend at the time's birthday party or something we went to. It was a joint birthday with one of his pals.
Aye.
And then there was a whole fucking drama, right? I was just minding my own business. I was going for a piss and like his pal's bird was arguing with someone, and I was like, excuse me, can I just get into the toilet? And she went, I mean, this is all your fault. You're Scottish, you probably started this. I was like, I don't know any of yous. Can we just I'm just
I just want to go for a pee.
I just want to go for a piss. But me and him were in the pub with his brother, his sister's boyfriend at the time, and these guys come up to us, they heard the accents. I don't know if you remember this. Like, you Scottish, aye? And I was like, fuck, we're going to get murdered here. And then the guy went, I heard yous are good drinkers. What, a drink? Like, yay! So we're just sitting there drinking with these random guys, brand new. Went to a nightclub. I don't even know where the fuck it was.
No,
Like,
I remember being in the nightclub, but I don't remember how we got there.
it was so bad though. It was really busy.
Tiny as well.
It was tiny. It was busy, and me and him like being fucking childish. We're just like people between us. So I was just giving them the fingers like that. Don't even really notice. But this guy turned around and was like, "You got a problem with me?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "You've got a problem?" I was like, "No, I was just giving him the fingers. It's my pal." He's like, alright. I walked away. I was like, so I'm really sad that he didn't notice I was giving him the finger, because he would have stuck up for me at least. It's like, or just went, I don't know him, gave him a
Just like, no, he's talking shite, mate. Kick fuck you.
I know me and him are the only Glaswegians here, and we're quite close to each other, but no, never seen him before.
I've been sold out by my pal like that. By fucking Pete of all people, right?
Pete's a dick.
Pete is a dick. This is a story of why he's a dick. And he can come and defend himself at some point. No doubt as well. But we were at a wee party around at my flat's house, just having a wee bit of food, wee bit of booze and all that shit. And a bunch of sitting in the garden just sitting talking about music. And I've got this weird habit where I like to like mispronounce things. I'll just say things in the wrong way, like, because I had to kind of think in, like, and for a good example, you know, right? But we're talking about rap artists and all that. And I went, oh, I quite like Notorious Big. And they all went like, you silly bastard, it's Notorious B.I.G. And I was like, I know. The only person now that really knew that I did this kind of thing was Pete. And I went, Pete, go tell them I mispronounce things from time to time. Try to save face, and he just looked at me with a big smile and went, no you don't, mate. I was like, you fucking cunt, you think I don't know who Notorious Big is now, man? Bastard.
Do you like him, but
He's alright, aye.
I was
Peter Notorious.
both.
Nah, he's alright, aye.
Why do you leave night shift? Just
sick of you.
that's fine. Little did they know that
just
I would
wanted-
go to day shift.
He just wanted the daylight.
I don't get it.
You don't like daylight?
Aye,
I like going to work when it's dark and leaving when it's dark, and then trying to sleep
Sleeping when it's
light.
daylight.
Can't fucking sleep because it's too late.
night shift was a weird one.
Me and him done night shift for a while. It was a vicious cycle because we worked in Amazon and not Greenock, sorry, same place.
Aye.
Gift not Greenock.
How was that?
Bad. Because
That's it. That's the end of the story. It was bad.
it was bad. One, we worked with my dad, who's a prick, but two, because it's Amazon, you'd be wandering around and you're like, oh look, there's a
Sometimes
CD
you
or
just
a
get
game
shipped.
or a you just got packaged and sent
Oh
out.
fuck, I've been primed to prime me green.
So you'd see like a book or a CD or whatever, DVD, and you go, fuck, I want that. So they knew this, they fucking knew this, because they had PCs in like the canteen, so you just come out in your break and go, oh, just buy that fucking book that I want, you know.
Just pick up
All my money went back straight. Just shite, I didn't need a fucking CD of Bam Margera singing CKY songs, that's got to be good.
Did you hear his eponymous hit single that came out like a wee while after Dunt died?
No.
It was like, I put my fist in the back of my ass so I can fuck myself. Sorry, I put my dick round the back of my ass so I could fuck myself. That's an actual song.
Why did we get into CKY? See, like, I know where were we know the band, like the DVDs.
Yes.
I know where were we guys at the time, but fuck's sake.
Because we were wee guys at the time, we were immature and fucking.
The thing is, like,
stupid.
yous grew past that. Like, all the bastards never
True.
did.
They're in
They
their
still do
40s
that
and stuff.
push.
Apart from Johnny Knoxville, he just does nothing.
Which, it doesn't really need to do it.
He
does
done
it?
the Dukes,
He's
was it
rolling
Dukes
in
of
money.
Hazzard film he done. And that killed his film career.
He
and
just
that
goes
was it.
swimming in his fucking Scrooge McDuck vault of money.
Aye.
But
It still breaks his arm.
Bam Margera got the bloat on, man. Did you see him?
Aye.
Just got really fat after
Is the
Dun
man
died.
okay?
No, he's off it now. And he's claiming that he's only fat because of the antidepressants he's on, rather than, you know, all the boozing and
Drugs.
probably eating.
Putting dicks in the back of his arm.
And
so he can fuck himself.
just inflating himself. And I was like, and then I was looking at it, I was like, why did we not see this coming? Look at his fucking dad and his uncle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Aye.
It was going to happen.
It was hereditary.
Hereditary bloat. It's like the name of a band.
I would've bent my dick to my ass so I could fuck myself. I would've bent my dick around the back of my ass so I could fuck myself.
Oh, hell no!
We've talked about Jackass, we've talked about CKY. I don't know how, because we're talking about the Polis.
Aye.
Remember the time in the common room where you bet me that I would eat an ashtray?
Eat an ashtray.
Yep.
Eat the contents of an ashtray.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's a bit more doable.
No, the
than
actual
ceramic.
crunching through the ash.
There was a glass one, so that would have been fucking disastrous if I tried to do that.
But
but-
aye.
Did you do it?
I did.
Why?
Because I don't know.
It wasn't even that I bet him that he wouldn't do it. It was he says I bet I could, and I went.
Alright, you're like, the outcome doesn't matter to me either way. And you went, oh, fine then.
I think it's because there was a quaver in it to begin with. Right?
You wanted the quaver. You wanted an excuse to get the quaver.
If I eat the rest of that, I get to eat that quaver.
So I ate all the fag ends and things like that, and I was like, the next day I woke up and I was like, Jameson, I don't feel right at all. And he's like,
Must have been that quaver.
no, and he's like, because I forgot about it, and he's like, I'm fine, man. I smoked the same amount, I drank the same amount as you. What the fuck's wrong with you? And then like hours later, I was like, oh, I feel really bad. And then I saw the ashtray, and I was like, I'm piecing this together. I can see you.
That ashtray looks like it's been licked clean.
One of them's absolutely spotless, and the other one's still full.
Because we always had that, like, because everybody at the time, but no guys talks about it in Two Good Boys about crap TV and that. We had our own version. What was it called? We never recorded it, but we had all these.
We
ideas.
just kept coming up with stupid ideas that we thought would be funny if you filmed them, but we never actually got into doing the filming.
So I think one of the ones was going down Gardner Street in the West End. Have you seen that? It's like a fucking slope, pretty much. So it'd be hilarious if you went doing that on a skateboard, which it would, but you'd also die because the Barton Road's at the bottom.
That's the thing that would make it funny though. Like, the death trap at the bottom. See, just going down a hill on a skateboard isn't funny.
Aye. Getting run over.
It's the result. Where does that inertia go?
When you get to the bottom and you get scalped off a like number 9 bus
of people who have just been
fuck's sake, Ali. Exactly.
A number 9 bus full of people who have just been kicked out of a party for bar heads, you know, just a never ending circle. But we came up with all these ideas, and it's like I was working somewhere, I can't remember where, but this lassie had a fucking serious case of herpes, right?
Like facial herpes?
Facial herpes, right? In her mouth, she was a fucking disaster. And Jameson's like, no, it'd be funny if you winched her and got herpes. And I was like, go ahead and put the kibosh in this one. And then he was like, right, no, right, so it's like, we can't get you an STD, what else can we do? And his next plan, which I don't know how this was going to work, do you remember that? The next plan was to inject a burger with AIDS and get our pal John to eat it.
This wasn't like I say, we would have never had any intention to actually make
This was a drawing room.
This was just drunken ramblings.
Of course.
Can't remember any of the other ones we had. I'm sure it was called Live and La Vida Loca. That's the working title for it, because we were big Ricky Martin fans. In fact, that was a CKY skit, wasn't it?
Aye.
Bam Margera says I would die for Ricky Martin.
That's how shite we were.
That's how
shite we were. We come up with a shite version of CKY, named it after a shite sketch for CKY. Fuck's sake.
So it's a good thing this podcast is a novel idea.
Aye. Just as well that you've started coming up with fresh ideas when you're 30s there, McLaren.
I think it was his idea. I just tagged along. One day we wanted to do a podcast. I think it was after we'd founded our 7th band together.
Yeah, I've got quite a few bands that we've got together.
I can't remember what the band was.
Did you ever actually practice?
Aye, no.
No.
That's good. I'm glad, because then you've carried on the tradition of our bands.
Which also had shite names like Quagmire, because we thought Quagmire and Family Guy was good.
Never ever practiced.
We did record something once.
Yeah, but like you could have made a MySpace page even without practicing, and you're still with a band.
To be fair, I don't think I've ever actually done that. I don't think we ever started a social media. We made a graphic once for the Quagmire band. It was a pint of Guinness with Quagmire written on it. I think it said Quagmire extra shine instead of Guinness extra.
Probably.
We had
that's a t-shirt. That's what that is.
Merch. Do we not have like a band where it was all about medieval armour?
We had an armour metal band.
Yeah, it was just songs about doing battles and that.
How good our armour was.
There's got to be songs about putting your armour on.
That would have been the lull of the album.
And the gimmick was we were going to try and play while wearing suits of armour, and then we realised that that's never going to work. Can't even hold a fucking guitar while wearing like gauntlets, probably.
Not to speak of the temperature.
There's been a few, I can't remember what else it was. And then somehow all these shite bands started into a shite podcast, so you can see where the progression is.
But at least
so you're welcome, right? You're fucking welcome.
You've actually bothered with the podcast as well. You've recorded that 3 times now.
3 times now.
3 times?
Aye.
And you know, this time was relatively close to the second time they did it.
Aye.
I mean, I did have a laugh between your first and second episodes. There was 3 episodes of Two Good Boys.
Yeah, they get.
Given how regularly they record.
I know, but
Yeah, they're getting paid for it now, so they need to
true.
fucking deliver the goods.
That's it, they're going to be putting them out every week. They're getting 20 quid an episode now.
20 quid an episode.
That'll cover guys' train fare.
listen to Two Good Boys if you've not done it already.
And try and find a Living La Vida Loca DVD if you can. There was another, I'm sure there was another shite skit we came up with. All of them were shite.
Aye, they were all absolutely terrible.
And see,
Like, without fail.
I like how serious you're looking at
Why?
it. It's like you're dedicated to how shite this would have been. It's like, did you never have that where you was too young for the whole Jackass phase?
We had like, well, do you know, my big sister was in it and all her pals were in it, but us, you know, because we were all younger, me and all my pals, like, we just kind of got the scraps of like the DVD that went awry out the box set. At least I did. I don't know, but no, got into it the more older I got. Just got to rewatch everything.
See, we used to get drunk at Stuart and Fiona's house and then watch all these shite videos, and I can't remember what the website was called, but Stuart had this one where he found just funny videos. Like, remember there was the newsreader and the lizards. Like,
I vaguely remember this.
There was this news, like, local news anchor guy, and it was like, oh, this guy's coming in, he's the local lizard expert, and he had like a gecko and shit like that in a tank, and then all of a sudden the guy was holding the gecko and it jumped off his hand onto the news anchor's like Jake it, and he had this massive freak out. He's like screaming, he's like this big black guy, but he's like screaming like a wee lassie, like, ah! And like panicking and everything, and the guy's just like, right,
I'm just
take
too
it back.
It's a gecko.
So we'd get drunk and watch shite videos like that.
Aye.
Thankfully we never try to do
Techno vibing.
videos like that. We should have. Find a gecko. Find a gecko.
Throw it in
He had a fucking bearded dragon, we could have done that.
fuck's sake.
Colin has been missed. Remember the time we found your cat in the tank with the bearded dragon?
Just jump in and hang about it.
Must have just, because it was warm, he was just walking by the tank, you just see this big ginger hanging beside the bearded dragon. They looked pretty annoyed about it. He's just sitting there like,
Sleep. Alright. Get the tank, you fucking dick.
which is good because he could have killed it, I
Aye,
suppose.
easily could have ate it. 2 munchies and it'd be gone.
Because I was
Like
living
cat scaling.
Aye.
Just coming in one day.
See, to be fair, the bearded dragon would have fucking ate Leo. It's a big pansy. So when I was living with Jameson, that's when I got my cat Zelda, and she was just a kitten. She'd just go fucking sprinting up the hall, and they had this big fat cat called Keysby, who's the best cat of all time, but he had this big docile ginger useless cat called Leo as well. So Zelda's go fucking pelting up the hall, chasing after them, trying to play with them, and they're like, no, fuck this. So they'd sit up on the bearded dragon tank away from it, but away from her, and she's just like this wee tiny kitten, couldn't get near them, looking sad. When he got Keysby, how did he introduce himself to Leo?
So, Keysby introduced himself to Leo by coming in and claiming him, which, if you're not sure,
Right.
that means he pissed on him.
He also had a female cat that he pumped as well.
I introduced himself to Smudge by getting her up the Hillary.
I mean, if you're going to make a first impression.
I mean, aye, he walked in and literally within a couple of months he'd her pregnant and he'd claimed Leo. Just like, I'm the fucking boss here now. And then he got fat and just lay about like the Godfather. Like,
So you're getting married again, you prick? Need to buy another suit.
Congratulations, man.
No, fuck him.
No, fuck you.
This is the set one. He should be buying me a suit.
Buy my suit. Be a good
buy your suit.
To be fair, it's £100. I'm sure I can keep the one.
buy a suit as well.
You're not invited.
Oh no, I'm going to some other person's wedding. I don't know why. Is it Pete's? No, it's not Pete's. No, it's another Goldie.
Oh, that's right.
Goldie wedding.
On the,
It's on the fridge. It's on the fridge.
When is it?
What, you want to come? It's end of March, I think.
When's your thing? May? Is it March? Should be March.
May, I think it is. Aye.
No double book. That's not his wedding. That's
You
his,
have no more photos.
That's just the engagement.
that's just the engagement party. But
Aye, the wedding.
considering I've no social life, that's on the upcoming thing. I'm just making sure it didn't cross over.
Like, in the next 3 months, I've got one thing on my calendar.
I'll have to go check.
If he wasn't here, I wouldn't have known. I said, fuck it. I just knew it began with M. It's like March, May, fuck. But no, I'm free. Let's go. Where is it?
Don't know. Have to read the fridge.
Easter Rising 1916.
Up the ramp. What's that?
Guys, shush.
I love your fridge because it's
There's quite a lot of propaganda on my fridge.
pro-terrorist propaganda.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just love that, like, when I went to Liverpool, I don't know if I mentioned this when I mentioned we went to Liverpool, but Barry's Irish, and we went to the fucking worst Irish bar there. Because just like Sean McGee's like, you're Irish, I'm taking you to this Irish bar. There was 3 people in it, despite the fact it was 10 o'clock on a Friday night.
That's a good sign, first
There
of
was
all, when you go into a
a
place.
tricolour up behind the bar, that said, remember the Easter Rising 1916, and Barry's just stoning there. It's like, aye. And he's like, I don't want to be here because people are going to hear my accent and actually want to talk to me about these things. So we went. Sadly, there wasn't a shite Scottish bar it took me to, but we did go and see some Beatles places, and then went to the.
You must have been happy with that.
Went to the Crazy House, mate. The Crazy House. That's the Liverpool version of the Cat House.
Wait.
It's just like.
Do they have stairs as well?
They do have stairs, and there's a Scottish wrestling company called ICW, right? And they just happened to be in Liverpool that night. So Sean McGee and me met his pal in a pub, and this guy's like, "Oh, you down for the wrestling?" And I was like, "No, I don't go yet when it's in Glasgow." It's like, "Oh, so you're just saying you just so happen to be here?" I was like, "Aye, because I'm seeing my pal." It's like, "I'll see you at the wrestling," and I was like, "Mate, I'm no joking." I'm not going to the wrestling. It's like,
don't get your hopes up.
You'll notice when you go, me and him will still be here in the pub drinking. And then later on we bumped into him in the Crazy House, like, "Do you like wrestling?" And I was like, "I didn't go, mate." It's like, I genuinely didn't go.
Should have just said aye.
No, it's good, aye. See when that guy fucking bombed him.
What you should have just done is say, "Aye, it was great when Chris Renfrew beat BT Gunn in a street fight." And he'd have been like, "Aye!" Every fucking Sunday night at the garage. Was it Joe Coffey versus Wolfgang in a Scottish rules match?
Pretty much. But like, the wrestlers were there afterwards because obviously the Crazy House is the fucking place to be.
Oh, it's aye.
And then Sean McGee got a doon.
After
Should
this,
his accent? Or?
Aye, he got a doon for his
Liverpool.
Scouse accent in Liverpool.
Oh, I thought that was your Irish part.
No, Barry, who you use as a slagging name all the time. No, why would a fucking Irish guy get a doon in Liverpool?
I don't know.
All Liverpool's Irish, that's the nearest port, is it? To Ireland. Either go to fucking Stranraer or Liverpool, because that's the 2 closest ones. No, but we went in, the wrestlers was there. I was like, alright, there's the wrestlers.
So they are.
Look, the wrestlers.
that's the wrestlers.
See the guys who are kind of fat, but no really, because Trent Seven was there, who is kind of fat.
Who is actually fat.
I said, alright, there's the wrestlers, and then Sean McGee went, "I'm going to the bar." Like, right, cool. So I turn round as Sean McGee's coming back for the bar with drinks. A guy walks backwards into him, and Sean McGee spills the drinks, obviously. And then the guy got really raging about this and started punching him. So he's in the floor getting a doing. And I was like
soaked.
I soaked him. Yeah, I was like, I don't know whether I should jump in here because there's no point in both of you getting a doing.
A true friend.
So no, I didn't just leave him. I went, right. Best way to do that, I'll go and get a bouncer, right, because he can deal with this. So I went and got the bouncer. Went, "Here, my pals, get." So the bouncer goes in, picks up Sean McGee, and then just takes him out and throws him out. And I was like, right, this didn't go the way I expected. And I went over, I was like, "Oh, he was fighting." I was like, "No, he was on the floor getting a kicking. That's not a fight." And I was like, "Right, aye, cool." He was like, "He throwing it at the other guy?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Okay." So I went outside. Sean McGee's lying on the floor. Outside, no getting a doing at least, but he was bleeding everywhere.
Aye.
So I was like, "You alright?" And he's like, "I've not got my jacket, my wallet or anything like that." And I was like, "I'll try and get you." So I went back into the bouncer. I was like, "Can I get his jacket?" He's like, "Didn't have a jacket." I was like, don't pull this pish, man. He did have a jacket. I was waiting when we came in.
Didn't he have a jacket?
So I should also point out, not only did he take us to the shitest bars Liverpool had to offer, he has a thing of getting his pals the worst accommodation ever.
Alright, that's a good comment.
So last time Barry and Brody went to Liverpool to see him, it was like a women's refuge. They've somehow got that. No, a homeless refuge, sorry. It was like, I heard there's a bar here, and Brody said, there's a bar here. So he went up to the guy at the desk and for a bar, and apparently a guy just came for the back with like cans of beer. He was like, what do you want? And it's like, no, you're right. So this time he got his what was student accommodation turned into a hostel. So I went in. It was a single bed, that was fine, but like I looked at the telly, I was like, I've got the telly and cable or whatever. So I looked at the telly and there was a big Bayern Munich sticker over the screen. On the screen. So I was like, alright, so I'm not watching the telly, that's fine. So I was like, right, where's the fucking toilet? Turns out it was communal toilets, right? They were fucking disgusting. I went in and they were just caked and dried and shite all the way around the ball. No toilet roll. I was like, just looking at it, I was like, I'm glad I only need a piss here. This is fucking piss all over the seat, obviously, because it's coming on. This is fucking minging. So I went, right, I've just got to go try and sleep and hope that I don't wake up needing a shit at any point during the night, because that's not an option, you know. It's like, even if there was toilet roll.
Was there a shower? Could you have taken a shit and just put your ass under the shower?
Possibly, but I couldn't wipe the piss off the seat, so I need to squat over the seat and then run across the shower. And I can only imagine what the shower was like. That's
true.
the toilet. There's probably
Take a
people
shit in the shower. It's probably the cleanest.
People probably had, they wouldn't even notice. You know what I mean? So the next day, I got they all left before me. I don't know, I managed to sleep in somehow. So I went to the Weatherspoons at Market Square or something it's called. So I'm in Liverpool, this is my first time there. I had no fucking idea where I was going, just wandering about. Finally make it to the Weatherspoons. Sean McGee's sitting there. A blue hairnet.
Right.
And it's like, where'd you get that from? I was like, I went to the A&E last night to make sure I wasn't concussed or like need stitches or anything like that. And the nurse left this hairnet, so I just took it to keep the hair out of my wounds. And I was like, right, so his face was all fucked, like pretty much like me when I went skiing down the hill. My face just like, skin missing
A whole
everywhere.
packet of plasters.
It's Liverpool. The NHS is shite in England. So fuck it. So we're like, we'll get some breakfast and start drinking again. So I got a fry up or whatever and a pint. And Johnny was just eating his eggs or something. Well, it was hash browns. He kept stealing hash browns off someone because he's a fucking scouser and can't help himself. He's just eating, and he started bleeding again. And he's like, oh fuck, it's fine. So he took the hairnet off, started wiping his face with it, and then pulled out another hairnet. Fade bag. And I said, Sean, I thought you only stole one hairnet. He's like, no, there was a box there, so I just try to think of other stories. I'm sure there's some other pish that we missed out.
Most likely, but that's for next time.
You don't want to spunk all your good stories.
Exactly.
We've done that in episode 1.
We're running dry already.
We're going to get through our pals in a second. When we get fucking Pete on the next episode, that'll be us out of pals and batter.
Pretty much.
Episode 5 is going to be a fucking disaster. When you get Sean McGee on via
like,
Skype.
Think about Dunt puns to do with train wrecks. But aye, it's been a good time. I've had a.
Do you feel justified and you got your side of the story over then?
No, I think I still came across as a prick.
Well,
that's alright.
At least you pointed out that the prickiness wasn't one-sided though, it was a combined effort.
It's a dual carriageway of prickness.
A car crash of prickness. To be fair, we spoke about how we're never going back to Whifflet or Barhead, and to this day we haven't. So if nothing else, we're men of our words.
Yeah, these are.
I still think that he'll need to be there when we record the Cat House special on the.
Oh, it's definitely going to happen. Right on the middle of the stairs up to the cat house.
Record a podcast on a Saturday night in the Cat House.
Aye, that'll be done well.
Not booking it out to do it specifically,
No.
just while we're there.
Show up with some microphones.
Aye.
Aye.
How's it going, guys?
Do you like shite jokes? No, okay, go away, please.
Do you like tea cakes?
So until episode 3. Sorry, I
4.
fucked that.
We've got ahead of ourselves here. This is 3, mate.
I went back in time.
Never thought we'd make it to 3.
Until episode 4, this has been. I can't remember the pun I used for the episode title.
Don't you forget about
Don't
me.
you forget about me. This has been Don't You Forget About Me, and it has been pretty forgettable, so we failed. But thanks for coming on, Jameson.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Aye.
Yes.
And cheerio.
Cheery bye. Oh aye.